G'day, mob. How's it going? What is cracking all over the place? Look at me flying solo. G'days to James Hukilak once again. First cab off the rank. Well done, lad. Big bucket of kudos in the post to you. Can you hear me all right? Is my audio clear? I have concerns. Paddy Shaddy, how are you? BJ, hello there. Huawei, love you too, buddy. Fishroom Fever, James, popping in to say hey. Mark Sturlson, g'day Mark. GRB, g'day mate, how's it going? Who else we got here? Two Dougs, how are you mate? Welcome back to you. 5x5, don't know what that means. What does it mean? Single baked bean, what does it mean? You gonna come and say hi? I only have 0 co-hosts on screen. I do have a visitor. 3G, did I miss 3G? I did get a 3G. How's it? How's it indeed? Aha, right, that stuff. Thank you, Dougs. Yeah, I've had a few audio issues recently, but it seems to be okay. We don't have a Corvus or whatever random name he would have chosen if he was going to be here. He's down with the COVID. Ooh, he's down with the sickness, see. Wildness. BJ says hi to Sarah. So does GRB and so does Huawei. And there's a Shanna.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing better now that I'm here.
Oh, that's good. You might be my only co-host today.
Oh my.
Joel has the COVID.
I owe this pleasure.
Joel's crook with COVID or sick with COVID, I suppose you guys would say. Haven't heard from Z-Beam yet. And Brendan is busy editing other stuff. So I don't know if he'll turn up or not. G'day, Vinoxky. How are you? Pardon me. What was that beeping?
That was me getting ready to self-destruct.
Right.
Or maybe my little fan thing. It just beeps sometimes, and I don't know why it does it. Probably trying to tell me something.
Whose nephew are you talking about, Huawei? I did have that before and finished it, didn't I? That's why I got you to get it.
Hello, BJ. Ooh. Caramel sauce.
Butterscotch caramel sauce.
What's
it's delightful. It's very good on ice cream and many other things. Oh, there you go. Huawei, that's how you get an answer, isn't it? Ball Space pops in and answers for himself.
Patty, is that better? I had my microphone down pretty low because normally I'm loud. So maybe I just get down too
back
much.
In a sec.
Okay. Can you hear me now? Patty freebases caramel sauce. Okay. Well, Hello, Mark. Good to see you, sir. Thank you again for those amazing killies from Bunny. And everybody who loves killies, you better check out what Bunny's cooking up. She's got some real pretty fishes. Hello, GRB. Okay, good. I'm glad. I had the microphone turned down too low. Hello, Stephen P. and Two Doug's GMA. It's like 1,000 degrees here tonight, so if you can hear all the fans in the background, sorry, it's because without them I will die.
A bit warm, is it?
Yeah.
G'day, Stephen P.
It's 83 degrees in my room.
And that's with your fans and nonsense on.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I forgot to say hi to Ball Space as well. How's it going, buddy?
Oh my goodness. And I've got my delicious beverage of choice, Suncoast orange soda. This is not sponsored by them. I just liked it.
Just want a sponsorship.
Yeah. Yep.
It is a good orange soft drink, Sunkist. I'm not sure how comparable it is, the one over here to the one over there. But, you know, I quite enjoy it. I find it a little bit less full on than Fanta.
Fanta is like
way over the top.
Sunkist is like an orange flavored soda, and Fanta is like an orange scented marker flavored soda.
Yeah, right. I was trying to work out what your words were then, but I got it. I got there. Orange marker scented. Yeah, not very appealing.
Oh, I love it, but
it's just too strong. Way too strong a flavour. So what's been going on apart from heat and sweats?
Heat, sweats, and mountain climbing, where there was also a bunch of heats and sweats.
No doubt.
It was good though. So there were 2 adventure stories. Both of them are full of shenanigans. Which would you like to hear? Would you like to hear the ocean shenanigans story or the volcano shenanigans story?
Oh, let's start with the volcano. They sound more fun.
Okay, so my buddy Dan is a little mountain goat. And my son and I were like, oh, we want to go adventuring. So we called Dan. We're like, hey, where's a good place to go? And he's like, oh my gosh, let me take you up to my favorite spot on Mount St. Helens. And I'm like, yes, perfect. I love it when somebody already knows a good spot and I get to go check it out with somebody to show me. And so we go out there and it's great. And we go to the first place and we go on this nice hike. It's like, easy hike, but 2 hours there and then back. So like 4 hours of hiking. So, we ate, we're starving. We got some water. We go to the next spot, which was right next to the river. And we were going to go along the river to collect driftwood. And I'm like, sweet, driftwood. And while we're there, Dan's like, hey, do you want to see this cable? And I'm like, what cable, Dan? And he goes, there's this cable. And it's suspended above the ground. And I'm like, well, yeah, they normally are. He's like, no, this one's like 2 or 3 feet high. And I'm like, what's it for? And he goes, I don't know what it's for. And I go, what's it connected to? And he goes, I don't know what it's connected to. And I'm like, how can you not know? He's like, I don't know. You got to see it. And at this point, my curiosity is piqued. I'm like, yeah, I don't understand what he's talking about. I got to go see it. And I'm like, how far away is it? He's like, it's not bad. It's like a half hour. And I'm like, okay, cool. And I see where we're going and it looks legit. It's just this like super flat, open, former river bottom, I'm presuming. And it's got moss growing on it and trees and little rocks. And I'm like, scenic. Yeah. And we get on it and it turns out it's moss growing on top of like however many feet of super soft sand. And I'm out of shape. I'm not a mountain goat. My son, bless his heart, is a computer nerd. So 4 hours deep, he was done. And then on this next thing, he's like fully fixing to murder me. He wasn't having it. So we go and see this cable and it's pretty cool. And it is like 2 or 3 feet off the ground. And I don't know what it's attached to. And I don't know why it's there. So like the questions all remain. But we get there.
It's going uphill though. Is it just there for people to hold on to while they walk? No.
Nope. It's across a flat space and it only goes like 20 feet.
Interesting.
Yeah, super weird, super random. And so I'm like, okay, cool. We've seen the cable. Let's go to the river because I can hear the river. The river is close by. This is the easy part, right? And he goes, the river's that way. And so I look that way and I don't see a trail anywhere. There's no sort of trail at all. It's just a wall of trees and Scotch broom and sticker bushes.
What
And I
bushes?
go, where's the trail? Sticker bushes, the bushes with thorns on them. And he's like, there is no trail. We just got to go through there. So we went through there.
Hi and bye, Skipper. Skipper's in and out by the look of it. Misfit, hello to you. I thought I saw another new name in. Oh, well, they'll tell me if I didn't say hi to them. Sorry, keep going.
No, yeah. So mountain climbing through the wilderness, right? And it's not such a big deal until we're in like the woods and you can't see anything. You can still hear the river, and all of a sudden there's just bear tracks everywhere. Bear poop. And I'm like, oh, cool. And we have black bears, so it's not really like that big a deal. But at this point, I'm like 250% past my capacity for hiking.
Which means you're not going to be able to run long.
And hungry. So I'm not even thinking clearly. I'm just like, oh shit, bear. There's bear too. Awesome. And so it took like 45 minutes before we got to the river. We get to the river and Ben and I are like, hey, how do we get back to the car? The car was literally like a 15-minute walk up the riverbank. And then we were just in the car. So it was all of that.
Good times.
About 15 minutes. Yeah. Yeah. I got some pretty cool pictures though, and I didn't get eaten by a bear.
Extra bonus. That's good.
Yep. And Ben's only sworn off going out with me for the next month. So all in all, not too bad.
I did have another co-host. Oh. Right. 1 second. I'd had Z-Bean in the green room. And he's just saying that he was about to he was coming in, then he realized his battery was about to die on his phone and he's on a business trip.
Oh no.
So he's asked that I say hi to everyone and that we have fun.
Hi.
But yeah, I'm sure everyone who uses StreamYard knows it's very, very heavy drain on the battery of mobile devices. G'day, Bunny Viper. How are you? Long time no see, I think.
Patty said Shanna shan't do that hike again anytime soon. And that is correct. I shan't not.
Once bitten, twice shy.
Actually, I would totally go back and do it again, but I wouldn't wear leggings and I wouldn't wear tennis shoes.
Go better prepared.
Mm-hmm. And I would have sunblock, which was the other key component I forgot on that trip.
Ah, yeah, righto.
Stephen P says my phone battery dropped a percentage point just from you saying StreamYard.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what Josh said. He was backstage for what, maybe 30 seconds, and he said his battery dropped 3%.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's quite full tilt. I used to I'd do my phone as a second camera sometimes for StreamYard, and yeah, even plugged in, the power would still go down. It's wild. G'day, Zen Ginger. How are you, love?
Honey. My phone will stay at the exact same percentage charged if I keep it plugged in while I'm streaming, but it also gets to the temperature of the sun.
Yeah.
I'm like, that can't be good.
No, that's when you feel like they're about to explode for sure.
Yeah, I've seen videos of that on the internet. Like, it's not. I prefer to keep my ridiculous incidents of my own volition, not of my devices.
Pardon me.
Oh my gosh, Dr. Black. I have my new best, worst first date story.
All right, let's hear it. Is this involve the ocean?
No. I went to a very public place. This is for the first meeting at a public place.
Only just
Restaurant.
recently. Only just recently.
Yes, within the last week. And we were conversing as one does, and I was asking my usual questions, which are a bit odd, I'll admit, but pertinent yet again. And I asked, so are you now, or have you ever been arrested on probation for domestic violence? And he says, no, but I did spend 25 years in jail for murdering my first wife.
Shit.
Yeah. Yep.
But no domestic violence charges, at least. Just a murder charge.
Yeah. So, he passed that question. Just smile the neck of his pants. Yeah.
I suppose he was going with the honesty is the best policy theory.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, and I did appreciate the honesty. So.
G'day, chubby guppy. Well, I had a interesting, fun thing happen to me last week. I bought a drone, like quite a few weeks ago now, but I was very trepidatious to use it because I was worried that I was going to crash at first go. So last weekend I got it out and I flew it around in my room just for a little test fly, and then the next day it was too windy outside, and then the next day it was quite windy, but then I found a nice still section of the day where it seemed to be good flying weather, so I took it out into the back paddock and took it for a fly, and it was going really nice and stuff, and then I'd knocked one of the toggles off the control sticks. So I'm looking down at the ground trying to see where it was. And then I've looked up and the drone's going further and further away, just drifting away from me, not just hovering like I expected it would. And then so I'm trying to pull it back and it's not really responding very well to my commands. And there's this button on it where you can push stop and it just ceases the operation of the drone. So I pushed that button, let it drop, and then ran off to find it. And it was way up high in a massive big tree, about 25 meters up in a tree, completely unreachable. And the bad thing, well, two of the bad things, I guess one of them was a good thing, was that the camera was still showing up on my phone, so I could sort of see where it was ish, because lots of the trees around here look all the same. But the worst thing was that for its maiden voyage, I'd actually forgotten to push record anyway, so I didn't get any of the footage of it. So it's probably, hopefully this wind picks up and it might get blown out of the tree, but for the next few nights it was raining and stuff, so it's probably ruined by rain by now. So go on. $130 in one flight. See ya. But that's what you get for buying cheap ones, I guess.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I've heard, some of my friends included, of people who fly their drone for the first time and then just never know where it goes. It just it's just gone.
Yeah, well, I think this one only had a range of 60 to 80 meters, which is, not really that close considering you want to get about that high in the air to see around things around here. So yeah, I think I should have been walking a little bit closer to it non-stop instead of just standing static in one spot.
would be standing there out like on the edge of like the cliff that I was on, just like flying it out, looking, and then watch it just drop out of range and be like, oh.
Byron Lumley, how are you? Vitra, g'day. Yeah, I was sort of kicking myself that I'd forgotten to push record because there's all this tree clearing going on over the other side of the creek, and yeah, I was seeing really nice images of the machines going nuts and stuff, but unfortunately not recorded on tape. But yeah, me and my son went down to because that's right, the lights were still on. So I had a mate over on the Saturday night. Was that Saturday just gone? Yeah, it was that weekend. So we were drinking and eating hot chili. We're doing a hot chili sauce challenge. And maybe on my YouTube channel soon if I get my editing done. But yeah, we went down once the sun went down to because that was my theory, that if the battery lasts long enough, the lights will still be on and I can find where it is. So we did find it where it was in the night, in the darkness. But when me and my son went down the next day, we had no chance of seeing it because of how high it was up in the tree and how thick the foliage was where it was at. But we took a extension ladder down and this long fruit picking device that I've got, hoping that we could get high enough into the tree. And then, yeah, we couldn't get anywhere near it. So, hey, g'day, Sam. How are you? We, ruined my left shoulder and my neck and my, whatever this muscle's called across here and around the back as well from wrestling the extension ladder in the thick, small trees. So, yeah, not only did I lose the drone, I gained a fairly substantial injury from it as well. A win-win, a loss, I guess.
Yeah. Good times. That's how you know you're living, man. It's not all wins.
I was gonna crack the dirts and just throw all of the accessories and stuff in the bin, but I'm still holding out hope that it will blow down and it'll still work. I'm probably lying to myself, but it's worth a shot.
A wrist rocket and a tennis ball. Like a super duper slingshot that has that thing that goes back on your arm. Not just a regular slingshot, but the one that launches stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe you could knock it down. But I feel like
I do have a couple of slingshots, but their rubbers are ruined. But they're also illegal in New South Wales. All slingshots are illegal. We're pretty full on with weapons in this country. G'day, Fishymon. So yeah, I'm glad that if I was to lose a drone, it was only a cheap one, and that I didn't go and spend $500 on a fancy one and crash that or lose it. Now I'm quite confident that I'm not really fit out to be a drone pilot. maybe I go even cheaper this time, but restrict myself to 20 meters high and within a 30-meter radius or something. Get the skills down before I soar to great heights. Yeah, wild. Oh yeah, but while we were down there trying to rescue the drone, I took a bait trap down to the creek as well and caught some extra special gambusia. Oh, such lovely fish. Pests, but now I've got a school of them in my big tank behind me. About 10 of them, I guess. One male amongst all of them.
That means you'll have more very soon.
Probably, because there's lots of females for him to service. But yeah, I don't have any mid to top water fish in the big tank, so it's nice to just chuck something in there. Oh, it's John McKenzie, g'day. Need to buy a recovery drone to retrieve the first one. Yeah. I do have a mate who's like, he's a actual pilot, a proper pilot of aeroplanes, commercial aircraft and whatnot. And I know he's got a fancy one. So I was considering getting him to come over with his, just so we can find it with his, and then maybe work out a way to knock it out of the tree with his one. So it's not such a silly idea, John.
Unless you get the second one stuck with the first one.
Yeah. Well, I'd certainly rely
Don't
on
do
his.
that. Yeah.
I'd rely on his expertise and skill to know exactly where he puts his. Plus, he can program GPS coordinates into his, and it'll fly to those coordinates and back to where you are, and doesn't need to be near the receiver or anything. Just goes on autopilot.
Ooh, fancy.
It's pretty wild. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure that one was probably a couple of grand or more because he's had it a few years now. And yeah, it's got all the fancy features that you don't get on $100 one.
Like the home, where it just automatically flies home.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's another funny thing about this one was the all of the labeling on the control buttons.
Oh, that's tricky. I don't know what that says.
Yeah, I had to sort of memorize the buttons from the manual, but it was one of those fantastic Chinese to English translations where the words were quite humorous and stuff. But luckily, the labels for all the buttons were just single words. They didn't have to, translate a full sentence to say what a button was. Anyway.
I have a hard enough time with the controls when they're in English. So, yeah, another language, I'm like, that's when I'd call Ben. I'd be like, hey, kiddo, come here real quick. I'm gonna need you to I need you to learn this real quick and then dumb it down for me. He's super good at that.
It's handy to have people that are good at stuff around.
Mm-hmm.
Very handy. I'm going to get a bev before I start thinking about other things.
Well, then I'm going to tell my other adventuring story. This is the one where I'm a complete idiot. So I told my buddy Dan, again, the mountain goat, I'm like, hey, Dan, we should go to this super cool beach called Agate Beach. And he's like, Agate Beach? And I'm like, yeah, Agate Beach. His dad had told him about Agate Beach. So we headed like 2 hours south to Newport, and then like 40 minutes west towards the coast to get there and realize that the beach I was talking about has agates on it, but is actually called Oceanside and is about 2.5 hours north and almost perfectly west from our house. So that was fun. Whoops.
So was it the wrong beach you were talking about? You had the name wrong.
And he even showed it to me, and I didn't listen. I was just like, "Oh yeah, that's it." Mm-hmm.
So certain was thee.
And then to make things even better, I told him it was his fault because he should know that I have no idea what I'm talking about, and he should know never to listen to me with directions because this isn't the first time something like this has happened.
That's quite an impressive passing of the buck.
I'm like, I know this appears to be my fault, but it isn't.
Yes, they are, Cody. They're like a form of quartz, I believe. Aren't agate? Agate? Isn't it a form of quartz?
I'm not sure. I know that you can see sunlight through them. I really don't ever look any of this stuff up until I go like balls deep. And I've thought about getting into like gemstones and stuff, but I don't. That's a lot of books. That is a lot of books, and it's a pretty spendy habit because if I start learning about gemstones, I'm going to start collecting gemstones. And you know what? Fish are cheaper.
Yeah, that's Z-Beam's bag his gems and stones and whatnot. He's really good on all the crystals and stuff. He'd be telling us right away and then tell us 17 different varieties of agate and their scientific names and their mineral composition, etc.
And he'd all probably agree that it can be a more expensive hobby than fish keeping also.
No doubt. Now, speaking of fish keeping, being an expensive hobby,
yes,
I needed some new air pumps.
Yes.
So I bought two of these guys.
Boy.
Yeah, probably a little bit larger than what I needed because, crikey, it pumps out a heck of a lot of air into a 3-foot tank. Whisper, I believe, is somewhat of a misnomer because it's not really a whisper. It's quite the hum.
I don't notice mine if they're sitting properly, but also I have the gift of tuning out like you would not believe. I can tune out entire people. So it might just be, I'm like, I don't notice them at all, but that could just be because I don't.
Once you get used to it, yeah.
I have like 3 of them going in my bedroom right now. So I feel like if they were loud, I'd notice. I don't know.
So yeah, Misfit, thanks for hanging out. Yeah, I guess that's primarily what it is. It's just a new note that my ears have to get used to, and I only set it up yesterday morning, so I haven't sat beside it for that long. Yeah, it's already on like you know, those rubber jigsaw mat things. Yeah, I use them as my underneath fish tank bases, and it's sitting on one of those, but I might have to put it on some polyfill or something as well.
It's a bigger one though, so maybe that's why it's louder. Mine are for like 10-gallon tanks, which is what, 40 liters?
Yeah.
I can do 10 times 4. Look at me braining.
It's
but the real question, Dr. Black, is how many knuckles is it? That's what we need to know.
How many what?
Knuckles. We have not done a fluid to knuckle conversion, like units of measure, as in a knuckle.
Hang on. I'm going to mute my microphone. I've got a hair going down my throat.
That's the worst. My hair goes everywhere. So if it's making noise, put it on a pillow, says Patty. Vidra says a towel works too. Why Are We Yelling is saying, hey, go check out Blacky's merch. And I agree because it's super sick, dope, and awesome. I'm like a professional. And Sarah, oh my gosh. She's so talented. I want to buy one of her pieces. Her pieces are beautiful. The pillow worked for me. It's like a mini pillow from Five Below. Are you talking about smothering somebody, Patty? What's going on here? Oh, no, wait. Still on their pump. You can put the pump in a box of foam. But if you put it on a pillow or in a box of foam, doesn't it, like, block where the air goes in? Stupid question time. I cut off my long hair last week. Not sure if that was a good idea. Oh, I always grow my hair out and then chop it all off. Upside is, BJ, it always grows back. Patty says, great ideas. Nobody should have to live with a buzzing noise unless it's from a vibrator. Amen. But even though we had to drive 3, maybe 4 extra hours to get to the beach, it was so sick. It was awesome. It was like 100 degrees in town. It was 60 at the beach. And it wasn't even Like it was foggy, obviously, because it was foggy, but it was kind of fog, like the clouds came all the way down to the ground, and then was the rocks and the ocean like peeking through the mist. Basically, I was waiting for Johnny Depp. I was like, where are you, pirate? Oh, Captain, my captain. What's up, Jen? Oh my goodness, the last time your hair was long was 50 years ago? Wow. Blade number 2 buzz cut. I'm pretty sure she didn't go blade number 2 buzz cut. Better, my friend.
Let's just say I have a very sensitive gag reflex. And I think the hair's gone, but also my lunch and the first glass of turkey soda I had are also now gone.
Oh, well, there you go.
So I've got that lovely, that sensation you get in your teeth and around your gums and stuff after doing that thing that I'm clearly suggesting I did. G'day, Jen, you. But yeah, I'm not sensing the hair there anymore, so it was probably a handy thing to do. Oh, pardon me. I can get it from brushing my teeth. Just coughing can bring on vomiting for me.
When I was younger, I had, it was a joke. I had an iron stomach. Like, all through my party days, like, hangovers, whatever, I just didn't get sick. Like, ever. And then when I was pregnant with my son, I was nauseous 24/7 because it turns out I'm allergic to the iron in supplements. Didn't know that, though. It just makes you incredibly nauseous, and I was religious about taking my prenatal, so couldn't throw up then. And then, 10 years ago, all of a sudden, like a light switch, it all changed. I heard something gross while I was driving and had to whip over and was hanging out the door before I knew what happened. And I was like, and here we go.
G'day, PNW Aqua and Cody Donovan. I don't know if I've seen Cody earlier.
Ryan. Yes, Cody. Dr. Black has merch and it is sick.
Some of it's okay. I don't know about sick, but I should probably update it. I think I say that every other week. Oh yeah, I've got to get on and do I can't even remember one of my merch shops, what the shop was called. I probably need links from one of my mods to find out where my shop is. Does anybody know
where my merch is?
Creator Spring is Teespring. I can't remember if that's the American one or the Australian one.
Spring is American, but it might be also Australian. I know we have it here, though. I'm pretty sure that's who my stuff's through.
I have 2 different ones, and then someone was suggesting me to start another one the other week, but I can't remember which one that was. But, it's hard enough for me to keep tabs on 2, let alone 1. It's not really that hard because I just don't keep tabs on it. With that said, really it's quite easy.
Yeah. I have really easy ways to clean my house too. I don't.
Yeah, that's another thing I've got to get onto. I've got all these hairballs rolling around on the floor of my room. And dust because I leave the door open, so when it's windy, all the shit from out here blows into my room. I just got to remember to scrape all the bird seed and grass and stuff off my feet before I climb into bed and get the hairballs from between my toes.
A lovely image of you preparing yourself for a night's sleep.
Luckily, it is still, quite cold, so I'm generally wearing socks right up until I climb into bed. So that's much easier, just peeling socks off instead of brushing shit off my feet. Shit, not meaning poo, but stuff.
Yeah. As in things, not literal. It's not that bad. We're joking about things being messy, but neither one of us is an actual hoarder. There is no actual feces. We're just saying, euphemistically, shit.
That we've got shit everywhere.
Yeah, there's shit everywhere. I do feel like a super competent adult today. not only did I clear off the bullshit off of the vacant side of my bed, which is like where clean laundry tends to live, I cleared it all off. I changed the sheets. I washed the blankets and pillowcases and remade the whole bed and then put all the clean laundry away. Yeah. Yeah. What?
All over.
Yeah. Basically, I'm like ready for a trophy. Adulthood.
101.
Yep.
Entry level to adulthood.
It's more like adulthood. 4,562. Shanna 1. And excited about it.
G'day to you, Aqua.
What's up, Robert?
Yeah, I probably should do my bed too. I can't remember the last time I washed my sheets and made my bed. I'd never make my bed. The only time I make my bed is when I wash the sheets and pillowcases and whatnot.
Exactly.
I prefer that climbing into bed and wrestling around with your blankets until you get it right.
I like to work for it.
Yeah, I don't like a made bed. I find it too pompous or something. But the military will tell you a messy bed is a messy life. You got to make your bed before you start your day. Stuff that. I'll just take the messy life, thanks.
Yeah, I'm like, I mean, maybe. And so, what's your point? Like, okay.
Yeah, a tidy life seems to insinuate vacuuming and dusting and.
I like to vacuum and dust sometimes, but it's on my own schedule, not necessarily on the crap in my house's schedule.
Yeah.
Sometimes the house is like, yo, I need to vacuum. And I'm like, nah, you be fine. We'll wait till company comes over and then clean like a psychopath beforehand, yelling at everybody not to touch that.
I just dusted it.
Exactly.
Yeah, my vacuuming is purely determined by when I'm completely disgusted by the floor. I've got to be completely appalled at myself and in a dark enough space to go, mate, you're disgusting. Fix it up before I even think about pulling the vacuum cleaner out. But yeah, it's crazy that I've got this. I can just run my feet along the floor under my little computer table in the room there, and all of a sudden there's piles of hair at my feet. It's crazy how I've still got this much left up here when there's so much on the floor. It's like it keeps growing or something.
I always take a dirty towel out of my laundry basket because I don't brush my hair all the time. Like I brush my hair before I'm going to wash it. And like the rest of the time it goes up in a big fat knot on my head. And so when I go to brush my hair, I have to like put a towel out because like not only is the hairbrush like full, but like the shed is complete. I don't know how there's any left.
It's been about 3 months since I last shampooed my hair. I don't do it anymore. My hair's so much better for it.
It looks beautiful.
I brush it once or twice a week, and I think that's better than shampooing because you're not moving all your natural oils around. Doesn't stink anymore, but that could just be me being used to the smell. But yeah,
I like to put too much stuff in my hair though. Like I like to do my hair sometimes, not all the time. Not like when I again on my own time frame. Like, but I do like to like put a bunch of mousse in it and blow dry it and get like big sexy hair, or like put a bunch of like petroleum products essentially in it and like flat iron it so it's shiny share hair. And then you gotta like wash that crap out. Like you gotta like, it's like a toxic dump right in this region. Because I also color my hair, which I'm pretty sure ruins everything also. It's probably why it all is constantly falling out, because I just like microwave it every 2 to 3 months.
No, I think it's just natural. Like I said, I don't do anything to mine, and I lose heaps.
Oh my
Cousin
gosh,
Itch
my
lives
power
in our
green
shower dome.
has like a strainer thing for my hairballs. And then I also do the this is so terrible. I am ruining your stream, just so you know. I do the thing when I'm washing my hair where like I run my fingers through it and then you get that giant like wad of hair and I stick it to the wall so it doesn't go down the drain. And then I'm always like, I'm not going to forget it there. And then like 2 days later, I'll go in and sit down to pee and look, and there's this giant like, DNA sample just clinging to the side of the shower wall. And I'm like, oh my God, I have no shame.
Before I finish every shower, I scrape my foot across the shower drain to drag out today's hairball from the shower drain and move it over into the corner with the previous week or two's hairballs until I find the hairball in the corner of the shower even too hideous to look at myself, and then I throw it in the green bin. It's my system. It works.
Hey, as long as it doesn't go down the drain, because there is nothing worse than pulling hair out of a drain that's running slow.
Yeah.
But
I think Drano make a drain clearing product that specializes in breaking down hair, which must be pretty toxic because hair's pretty hard to break down.
I always just get an old toothbrush and it like grabs the hair and then you pull it out and then you like die pulling it out. But then you don't have to call a plumber. So that's cool.
True.
We had to call a plumber at my work after hours for a broken down toilet. He couldn't even get it fixed that night. Had to come back the next day. $3,000.
Jesus.
I need to start dating plumbers. I'm just going to put my short shorts and hang out in front of a plumbing shop and be like, sup? Apparently you're all independently wealthy. Holy cow.
Well, that night call out was probably, $500 or $600, probably even more.
Oh,
Emergency call out fees are pretty steep.
I think the night call he said was, I don't think they charged. I think that call out was $29.95, and I don't think they charged us for coming back the next day because the night call was so expensive.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're paying that sort of money, you want it fixed at that rate and no more. Two Dogs says giant ship going through my backyard. Is your backyard an ocean, Doug? Interesting. And no, Huawei, you can try. You can try and out disgusting me, but I'm sure someone will find my limit one day.
Dude, I'm pretty sure I've dated somebody grosser than you.
Oh, that's nice. I'm the yardstick to which all grossness is measured.
Well, no, you were just saying you can't outgross Dr. Black, and I'm like, pretty sure you can. I'm pretty sure. I don't feel like it's that hard. I dated a guy one time who liked the smell of his own farts.
I can appreciate my own farts.
No!
I can also be totally grossed out by them. Or I can take a dump and, flush twice, go away and do some things and then come back and go, oh, what died in here?
There, that's right.
But
that's
when you're in the act, it seems that you're completely numb to the fragrance, but that revisiting it 10 minutes later and it's like, whoa, something just punched me up the nostrils.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely agree, T and Aqua. It's always better to smell your own than other people's.
Which, of course, leads us to the locking of the girlfriend in the car, the window lock and farting, which I still think should be a death penalty offense. Like, that's it. abolish it for everything else. That shit, you guys, nope.
Or just cut your bits off so you're not interested in more relationships.
Well, I mean, I feel like that's a little bit of cutting off your nose to spite your face there.
That'd be interesting, actually. GRB suggests to jar them up. I wonder if they
there's
last.
girls that do that online. I feel like that's a thing.
And then they send them to people. Yeah, put a fart in a jar, send it to someone.
Does that even work? Do you just walk around with jars? Like, this whole line leads me to a lot of questions. I don't.
It makes me want to try it. Like pop one in a
I don't want to check. I don't.
pop one in a jar and just sit it around for a week or two and see if it's still got fragrance when you open it. I'm curious now.
What if you like pressure cook it like a canner?
And you'd probably never want to use the pressure cooker again. I don't think I've even got one.
You could say it was harnessing bioenergy, biofuel. Even. Basically, your Tesla. Fart in a jar.
Cody Donovan likes to cup them and throw them like a snowball at people. Works surprisingly well.
You know, that's true, too. Because I've had farts thrown at my face, and you can smell them. It's disgusting.
I'm going to have to try that one, too.
No, you don't. You don't have to try it at all. You don't. You could just not be a shitbag. Like, you could just be decent and not throw your farts at people. I've never said that sentence before. I don't know that I ever will again. This is a special moment, Dr. Black. We've had a special moment.
Cyanide and Happiness have a character called Fart in a Jar Martin. Is he a fart in a jar, or does he make farts in a jar? Ball space.
Or does he sniff farts in a jar? Robert says, I set my undies on fire once while lighting a fart.
Yeah, I don't know if I've even tried that one. I'm getting so many suggestions for things to try.
I've never lit my own fart, but I have lit somebody else's fart. I feel like that
biggest concern would be my hairy bum hole.
Self-immolation.
Yeah. Immolation, I think it's called.
Yeah. I was so close.
Immolation starts with an E.
Like immolation. That's when it comes from your butthole. He collects farts in jars. Yep.
Well, looks like the fart talk is popular with people. We lost about 4 people during the fart talk.
Whoops. One time I farted while violently throwing up on my first overnight trip with the guy I was dating.
Say that again, sorry.
One time I farted while violently throwing up out of a tent on my first sleepover with the guy I was dating.
Don't they call that a double piper? Or is a double piper only a burp and a fart at the same time?
I don't know. I feel like it should be something extra because it really was a lot going on. It's hard to keep track of everything. Small talk, tough.
Yeah, I just call any excretion of bodily fluids out of 2 places at once a double piper. What if you sneeze and fart at the same time? Would that
That is so real. I'm like, I sneeze loud because I don't fart that much. Maybe I fart a bunch in my sleep. I don't know. But like 85% of my farts happen when I sneeze. It's like, whoa, where'd that even come from? Yikes. Good thing I sneezed loud. Nobody heard nothing. And then you walk.
You don't want to shart while trying to light a fart. Pardon me. Aqua likes the farts that say squirrel.
Oh, While I said it, be like that OnlyFans girl that sells your farts in a jar. I knew it was a thing.
Yeah, I'm sure there's more than one that's doing it now.
Ew.
And the bath water, that was a
Isn't
thing
one
as well.
enough? Like, isn't one plenty? We could argue that one may be too many, but it's certainly enough. What, like her farts aren't good enough? You need to mix it up. Like, tell her to eat something different one day. Like,
yeah, that's true.
There's a whole niche industry.
I wonder, maybe she specifies to her fans what she's eaten the night before, or they can request particular foods. I want a bit more piquancy, so can you do spicy enchiladas tonight? And then I'll buy it for $75,000 tomorrow.
Okay, I would fart in a jar for 75 grand. No,
I guarantee. I guarantee a girl that people want to buy the farts of, she's not selling $10 farts in a jar. They're going to be 3 figures at least.
This fart in a jar thing isn't sounding so bad. Just saying. I'm lean. Nope. Still gross. Also, like, who has that much gas? Who farts that much?
A TikToker made $200,000 farting in jars. Digitally drawn.
Guess she's laughing all the way to the bank.
A lady bought a fart in a jar from eBay for $20. "90-day fiancée Stephanie makes thousands selling farts in jars." Certainly a thing. There's actually a YouTube video of that lady who bought one for $20. I may have to open that and watch it later because her thumbnail is quite a shocking face. What did you expect, love? You weren't going
I feel like it must work. I feel like the fart must travel well.
Yeah.
You know what? Broccoli farts, they'd make it there. I wonder if asparagus makes you fart stinky. Makes you pee stinky.
I like eating asparagus and playing a game of how long it takes before my piss smells like asparagus. I think my record so far has been like 35 minutes or something. It was what I consider to be super rapid.
That's like hardcore asparagus. Must have been organic or something.
Nah, don't waste my money on organic food. I bought some organic sriracha sauce the other night, and it's not as good as the proper Asian one.
My problem with organic food, and I know this is not like the way you're supposed to look at this, but it goes bad too fast. Like, it doesn't have any of those preservatives I need to keep it from going moldy before I eat it.
Yeah, I do the supermarket pretty much once a day, so any perishable items I can buy on the daily, or try and use as much of it when I get it. Buy as much as I need to use is probably the wiser way to put it.
I try and go to the store never. I don't like the grocery store.
Tianaqua says, Shanna, is it true that when girls fart, that they rule, maybe that means roll up the front at times? I guess it depends on the position.
That's the thing. That is the thing. It's unsettling.
I can only imagine. I mean, I can lean back and fart and have it come up the front as well, but I've got more obstacles in the way for it to get past, I suppose. I wonder, can you get a UTI from farting forwards?
Nope.
As a girl. Because what if your fart's got poo particles in it?
I think it takes more than that.
Right. You'd think, being a doctor, I'd know these things.
Wasn't this your area of study, sir?
No, like I always say, I've got no experience, but I'll have a look at it for you.
Well, good.
Oh, GRB, that's an awesome topic change, and definitely a
Yes.
worthwhile thing to talk about, because they do our recycling is the place that recycles our recyclables in my area is supposed to be one of the most advanced of a standard recycling, and they can handle a lot of different things, but they still require you to rinse your cans out, rinse your milk bottles out, all of that kind of stuff. And I do think that raises an important issue, that so much rinsing and stuff of all this recyclable gear, are we wasting a lot of water doing that when they get to like cans, plastic bottles, and all of that? I believe they go into a big pool of liquid anyway, is the first step. So, I guess you just use a little bit of water and put your hand over it and shake, and then have your hands smell like stinky cat or dog food for the rest of the week.
No, hot water. You put hot water in it. That dissolves all of it. Then you swirl it and dump it. One more rinse. Good to go. But you got to wash it out. Otherwise, you get ants.
That's how you get ants.
I don't like ants because ants like always end up crawling on me. There will be like 3 ants on the counter and 2 of them will end up on me. And I don't like it. It's like inappropriate with my boundaries. Don't like
Very
ants.
invasive creatures. They're pretty bold too, because they'll bite and you're like 57,000 times bigger than them.
Right?
And they want to latch on.
No respect.
Even the tiny little black ones, little meat ants or whatever they're called. They just want their mate, I suppose.
It could be that I'm just extra delicious.
Fitra, I was using Accent Food Enhancer until I read the ingredients. MSG. Was that the sole ingredient? MSG?
Yeah.
It's just brand name MSG. Is farting in a jar recycling? No, I think that's reusing. Or hoarding, yeah, GRP.
I feel like it's closing the loop. Like recycle, reduce, reuse, and close the loop. I mean, especially if you use like recycled salsa and pickle jars, you know.
And then especially if you are selling them and sending them out to people, that person then, you know, they get their first use out of it by having their big sniff. I wonder how many sniffs you can get out of a fart in a jar, whether you can go and come back to it a bit later for another one. You know, if you're paying $200 for a fart in a jar, surely you want your money for it. You don't just want to one-off
shoot your wad and burst the whole thing and like.
Yeah, I would imagine that's how the diehards would do it. They want it all at once. Jesus, Cody Donovan coming out the blue with I hate my Aunt Dana. No context, no nothing. Just full of hate, Cody. Just full of hate.
Well, she's probably a terrible person because Cody seems pretty legit. And if he doesn't like her, I'm with him. We don't
I'm going to guess that it's something to do with washing pet food cans or the recycling.
Some sort of childhood trauma.
Maybe she's just incredibly fastidious with the process.
Maybe she used to yell at him. And like it was a whole Joan Crawford wire hanger dog food can moment.
I don't know what that was.
Oh my gosh. So Joan Crawford apparently wasn't a very nice mom. And there's this movie called Mommy Dearest. And her daughter, instead of changing her clothes after it came from the dry cleaner onto a padded hanger, she left it on a wire hanger. So Joan Crawford lost her ever-loving mind and beat the shit out of the kid with the hanger. No wire hangers.
Yeah, they sting a little bit.
Yeah.
It was a lot of tins. Maybe that will help. Not really. But like I said, I did predict it was something to do with the tins. Maybe she was an empty tin hoarder. Didn't rinse
Ew.
them and had stacks of
And-
ants.
And cockroaches, which are even worse. They're like giant, filthy sewer ants.
Yeah, they're pretty clean though, at least. They're like
But they
cats. They're
come in through
constantly
the
cleaning
sewer
themselves.
and poop.
They clean themselves all day long. So clean and lovely. But yeah, we had this place sprayed for cockroaches. What? Just before summer, I think. So probably 6 to 8 months ago. And you know, there was still a few around a few months later. It was supposed to be a spray that's supposed to last over a year, but yeah, some of the big American cockroaches have started coming out of the woodwork already.
Those Americans, man, I tell you, they ruin everything. They even
Well,
make cockroaches worse somehow.
We've got, well, actually, aren't the American cockroaches not a true cockroach?
What is
'Cause
it?
we've got lots of, I can't remember what their actual family is called. We've got lots of really nice looking Australian native ones, and there's lots of native cockroaches in Asia as well and South America, I think.
Yeah, when I was a little kid, my younger brother, was always like splitting his head open, knocking his teeth out. Like we were in the emergency room for him a lot. And at the emergency room, they had this really messed up display of different things they had pulled out of people's bodies, and then a little tag underneath it that said where it came from. And there was a cockroach they had pulled out of somebody's ear, and all I have ever been able to think about, like for the rest of my life, is how horrible it would sound to have a cockroach in my ear, and that I would probably stab myself to death in the ear trying to kill the cockroach before I ever got to the ER to have it taken out.
Vegetable oil.
Horrible fear of cockroaches.
You just pour vegetable oil into your ear and they come out eventually, or they drown.
You just know that? Like I know to pee on somebody who gets stung by a jellyfish, you're like, oh yeah, just pour veggie oil in their ear?
Apparently peeing doesn't work. That's
I
just
want to pee on them anyway.
I think that was just a funny thing that someone made up on the beach once because they were busting and their friend got stung by a jellyfish and they really needed to go, and they thought, oh, here's an opportunity. You know, if I pee on your leg, the jellyfish won't sting anymore.
That totally sounds like something two guys would do to each other too. It really genuinely does. Like you see your friend writhing on the beach in agony, and you're like, "Huh, I gotta pee. How about this?" Whiz.
I think the official treatment has changed to hot water. As hot water as you can handle it, running constantly over the sting site. But you know, if you get stung on the beach, not many people have access to instant hot water.
Look for an RV, I guess.
Yeah, good point. But yeah, I saw a video the other day of someone having a cockroach removed from their ear, and it was like you could only see little bits of the back legs and the back end sticking out of the ear. So this thing was right in there, because your ear canal's not that deep, surely. It was right in there. Right in there. G'day, DD.
Oh,
there was a Bear Grylls episode where he's out with Mel B and he gets stung by a jellyfish and gets her to piss on him.
Yeah, that's just because he's a pervert.
Yeah, he just had that wee fetish. He just wants to be pissed on by celebrities. If you can call her a celebrity. I suppose she still is.
I would still pee on somebody if they got stung and asked me to. I'd be like, sure. Never gonna get another chance.
I need to go. Why not?
Yep. I got you, boo-boo.
You know, it's certainly more easier for a male to pee on his girlfriend in the shower than it is for a girl to do it. It still can be done, but it's easier for a man to do it.
Yeah,
it's a fun game. Fun game in the
Why?
shower.
Why is that also a thing? Why is that a thing? Like, hey, I'm in the shower with my girl. You know what sounds fun? I'm gonna pee on her. Like,
I think
it's
keyword.
definitely a different temperature. It's not sneaky. Like, what? Why? Why is that a thing?
You use the key word, my girl.
Literally, you're just like, mine.
It's a territorial pissing.
What's wrong with I licked it? It's mine. How about that? That's much better. Like, you can be all sorts of territorial. Just lick it. And don't pee on anybody. Like, no surprise. We're having a sweet little moment in the shower. Thought you were gonna wash my back. Oh wait, nope. Nope.
You're taking all the fun out of showering with a partner.
I don't. I'm just no fun, I guess. It's probably why I'm still single. I'm like, hey, could you please not pee on me? And they're like, you're no fun. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, so yeah, this date's over.
Right? That's why I can never make it past the first date. They're always like, can I pee on you? And I'm like, nah, I'm good. Also, I murdered my wife.
No, at least you've got a short list maker now. You can say, do you pee on your girl in the shower? Have you murdered? If yes, let's not do a first date.
Yeah, I need to start asking these questions ahead of meeting. I think that's where I'm going wrong.
Get your qualifiers organized.
I should just type out a questionnaire. Like, you know how on YouTube, like if you have a community tab or whatever, you can do like a quiz. Maybe I can set up that sort of thing and just attach it to my Tinder profile. LinkedIn makes you do quizzes.
Fill in the form and submit at least 3 days before you expect a first date.
72 hours prior to.
Oh, 10 raises another really important thing that I've always wondered about, is why farts smell different when they come up out of the bathwater. They seem to smell
farts.
stronger or something.
They're wet.
But why does that seem to enhance the fragrance?
Because it sticks to your nose smellers more. Because it's moist. Yeah, that's a very unscientific explanation of something that potentially could be accurate.
It makes sense. But I'm loath to believe that a gas is going to pick up too much or too many moisture molecules on the way airborne, but it's possible.
Maybe farts are sticky.
Sticky and stinky.
They're stewing.
Yeah.
They've stewed on the way up.
That's coming from a chef, so he knows his culinary terms.
Oh my gosh. Speaking of farts, this isn't a bad me dating story. And apparently it wasn't even a bad dating story. My buddy, Dan, the mountain goat, goes on a first date with this girl. And they go to this nice restaurant at the beach. Not like super nice, but nice, you know. And they're sitting at a booth, you know, vinyl seat. Get where I'm going. And they order breadsticks. And apparently they're both freaks and ketchup on breadsticks, and they're talking about it. And she's like, oh, by the way, I shouldn't be eating this because I'm gluten intolerant. It gives me gas. She keeps shoveling down the breadsticks. Fast forward 10 minutes, she cocks to the side and beefs it. Like, whoa, flapping on the vinyl, beefs it. Everybody at the table is like, looks over, and she just like looks at him. He thought that shit was hilarious, and they dated for like 6 months after that. I'm like, yeah. What?
I don't think gluten makes you gassy that quick. I reckon she was saving it up, and she was using it as a gauge to see if this dude was appropriate, if he was going to tolerate her ripping a perler. Then, yeah, she was like, yeah, this guy giggled at my fart. He's okay.
Can I just tell you one? I would never eat something that I thought could maybe even possibly potentially in a million years give me that sort of rapid fire gas, like just on principle, not out on a date, not in public, not in private, not at all. Like, I'm not down for that kind of action in the Two, like, because what doesn't it hurt? Hello, ow, cramps. And also, like, shame. I would die of shame. I would slide down under the table and belly crawl out of that place and hitchhike home with the window down. Like, I would smell that fart for the rest of my days. But, you know, obviously I go in the other direction of this chick. My shock was that reaction, which was he thought it was adorable.
Well, I think it's probably her modus operandi. She probably has done it on multiple occasions, and it's
she's a first date farter.
She's probably playing a percentage game, and it's worked out most of the time, so she's stuck with it over time.
Wow,
that's what I want to think.
My strategy has been so flawed with men. Like, I've been doing everything all wrong.
Yeah, you're trying to hide the real you.
Yeah, I'm trying to be like polite and decent, you know, like show that I am in fact capable of acting right. Like, I don't always do it, but I can. Like, you can take me places with proper warning, clearly stated rules for conduct, you know, maybe a dress code. I don't know. Why are we always yelling? Says when farts are aphrodisiacs.
Yeah, obviously they are for some.
Yep.
A special proportion of the population. But, you know, we try not to kink shame around here.
I mean, yeah, but I know the guy, and well, maybe I'm gonna ask Dan the mountain goat. I'm gonna be like, yo, you into farts? I'm gonna ask him. I'll let you guys know what he says.
Righto, we'll need an update on that. G'day, Vince. How's it going? Vince,
I feel like you came at the perfect time if we can ever change the topic.
Yeah, we've been on a roll, haven't we? Poo, piss, and farts, all the fun stuff we've been covering today.
And creepy crawlies. Don't forget the EBGBs.
Oh, and drain hair. That was
the
highlight. That goes definitely goes into the highlights reel.
Oh, also, this isn't my fault because it all started with your hair.
It did,
that
didn't
one
it?
lone hair. It's those luxurious locks always getting you in trouble, buddy.
I worked out the other day that it's finally long enough that I can tie it in a knot so I can put it up without a hairband.
I don't like tying my hair in a knot because it comes right down.
Yeah, mine's all curly and wavy and stuff, so it locks into itself. I can understand that straight hair might do that. But it was about a month ago, and I saw this lady in the supermarket, and she had this knot, and I was hypnotized by it. So I had to pull her up and say, how do you do that? I want to know. And so she pulled hers out and she showed me how to do it.
Oh, nice.
But that was probably a month or so ago. And I tried to do it when I got home and it wasn't long enough. And then I think it was last week I tried to do it and I successfully got it up like that. So it must have grown just
the thing where you wind it into a rope and then just tie a knot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if I can't get the whole end of the rope through the hole, it tends to hold for a little while until a few hours later, and I notice that my hair's sitting on my shoulders again, but I haven't even felt it fall out. So it must just happen really slowly and gradually. Well, thank God we're back onto hair instead of shits and farts and pisses.
Right. I like my hair up in a knot, up high. I know it's there and long and it can be nice. And that seems like it's enough. Like just knowing.
That it's a potential.
Yeah, because like when it's actually down, it's hot and like always in your face and like in your mouth, and it gets all over everywhere.
Cody asking me when I last had a haircut. Actually, a few days ago, I did my undercut sides
Nice.
and a little bit down here and trimmed the beard off because it was getting a bit hectic. The main reason I do these ones is because they grow out this way, and then that makes my hair sit out here somewhere. So when I've got the side bits done, that at least hangs closer to my face and doesn't look like a big pyramid sitting on my head.
My son Ben, he's 16, and he wears the same hairstyle as you, but his is even longer and blonde. And he, like, I was slacking on getting him a haircut, but also he was just like, man, we'll do it next time. We'll do it next time. And the sides had gotten to where they had like grown all the way out and then come down, but it stuck out like a good 2-3 inches out the sides of his head. I was like, buddy, you can't go back to school like this. We have to get you situated. And as soon as we shaved it all off, he was like, oh, it's so much cooler.
Yeah, that was the bummer about having long hair over summer, was that it was ridiculously hot and sweaty. It feels like in summer my hair feels like it's made of polyester. My head sweats so much on the back of my neck. But yeah, winter, it's been lovely just to have it out all of the time. It's like,
it makes
I don't even need a beanie.
Yeah, it's fully a stocking cap. That's what Ben, he wears his hair in a ponytail during the summer, but during the winter it's down because it's also, he's like, it's water repellent, it's warm. I'm like, there you go.
Functional uses of long hair.
Yep.
There are, plenty of negatives, which we discussed a few of earlier. But long hair can also be a negative if you are the owner of a penis. They can find yourself with long hairs wrapped around and in uncomfortable positions. And not often you can just grab it and go, whoop, and it pulls off freely and easily. Sometimes it, jags on something and makes you go, or something like that. But yeah, I've learnt to be a lot more careful when I get them wrapped around the old todger.
Okay, so I obviously don't have a dilly, so I've never experienced the joy or sadness of like unwinding my hair from myself that way. But as a girl, like after you've washed and shampooed and conditioned your hair, you have to pull like a whole handful of hair out of your rear end.
Folds, crevices.
Yeah, it like all goes straight down. Very hairy situation.
Situation.
Mm-hmm.
Cody Donovan, what is the record for the longest nipple hair? I have one that gets to about 2.5 inches long. Just this lone rando one. I have a few spots on my body that do that. I have this one on the back of my right shoulder that gets about 3-4 inches long if I don't find it and pull it out. I haven't pulled that out for a long time, actually, so it's probably nice and long at the moment. But yeah, one particular one, I believe it's on my right, and it gets quite long. But, if you wear shirts and stuff, it doesn't reach its maximum potential because it's getting the end knocked off constantly by rubbing against fabrics.
I get one man hair. And I know as a woman, like this is part, like I just turned 40. I've been told by older women, they have welcomed me into the later stages of womanhood. And they're like, hey, heads up, stuff's about to start changing for you. And so now I get this one neck hair that I compulsively feel my neck for. And I can never ever find it until it is at least an inch long, and I am like in the pickup, and it's in broad daylight, like hanging off of my neck. And I'm like, what are you doing there? How has nobody told me this? And then it's a race for the tweezers.
You need two so you can plait them or braid them, whichever you call it.
No, they must die. One time I didn't have tweezers with me, so I burned that sucker with a lighter. I was like, no, not today. Not today.
You will
not. Mm-mm.
I don't know if you've ever seen me do my nose hairs on stream with the cigarette lighter, but
That's gonna smell so bad.
It does smell for a little while, but it saves you a lot of like no most of the time I do it with tweezers because they get quite annoying. But they can often cause multiple sneezing fits and many cryings because of the just stimulates your lacrimal glands. It's getting windy. My hair's blowing around. Big storm clouds rolling over. But yeah, it's good fun for the show when I do lighter nose hair trimming on the screen. Yeah, the fragrance does linger for a little while.
One time I had this nose hair that like just grew straight down. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have nose hairs sticking out of my nose. Can't deal with this. So I grabbed my trusty tweezers and I grabbed onto that sucker and I yanked it out. And short of childbirth, that may have been the most painful experience of my life. It was like connected to whatever creates pain in my brain. Holy shit, that hurts so bad. And I was not prepared. I was like thinking eyebrow pain. No.
Yeah, eyebrows are easy. Like Earth
yeah.
Girls. Ballspace says, that's funny. I get a single lone hair on the back of my right shoulder too. Must be genes. Ballspace is my nephew.
Hello, nephew.
So yeah, there's another genetic thing we share.
The lone straggler.
Oh, that breeze is cold too. Whoa, wind's picking up. Finches are fleeing. That's my favourite thing about long hair, though, is walking in the wind when the wind picks it up and blows it like you're in a movie scene. I feel so special.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I can see that. Like in front of a fan or whatever.
Unless the wind is blowing from behind you and it just goes.
Yeah, it's like, what's up? I'm Cousin It. I can taste all of my hair. Get out of my mouth.
Ballspace doesn't have genes that go that high. I'll see what you did there.
Took a second. I'm like, Suppose if you had overalls, properly placed strap, maybe.
Wow, I didn't know Americans called them overalls. I thought you called them coveralls.
Well, coveralls have sleeves on them, and overalls just have straps. Because coveralls cover everything.
Right, gotcha.
I think that they should call women's overalls naked peeing pants. Because you have to go naked
You
pee.
take the whole thing off, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I heard someone talking about that the other day. Oh, no, they were talking about wearing a onesie to a festival.
Yeah, naked peeing. You can't pee outside in a onesie, not even in an emergency, because you're just squatting down naked looking like a criminal.
Yeah. Oh, Huawei putting up the link for After the Bang Bang. I don't know if anyone's watched any episodes. Very, very, very niche podcast or YouTube show, I guess you'd call it, about comedy Bang Bang. And
Wait, what? Nothing. I'm sorry. Chat just went left and I got distracted. I'm like comedy Bang Bang, and then chat talked about the poop shoe. I got distracted.
We're into our fourth episode this week, starting recording tonight. If I don't get too drunk from this, I've been mixing fairly light drinks, so I should be all right. I'm planning ahead, not something I often do. Speed suits. Yes, I suppose speed suits are the same as coveralls, except coveralls are probably made from denim and speed suits are probably polyester or terry toweling or something, or vinyl or
Like a
latex.
tracksuit? Or are you talking about speed suit? Is speed suit like all one piece?
Yeah.
Oh.
Made famous by Dr. Thaddeus Venture of the Venture Brothers fame. I'm sure someone probably made it famous before him. But yeah, if you like improvised comedy and then you like people talking about people doing improvised comedy, check out After the Bang Bang with me and Bren on Babyface Bren's channel. It's good fun. We have a lot of fun. Yeah, it's what we do on the spare time. Yeah, I want to get those the long johns that you always see in the Western movies, the long
With the
leg.
flap.
Yeah, I don't want a pair just so I can poo out of it. I want a pair just because I think they look cool. I could rock that around. I could rock that around the street without anything over top, I reckon. I've got just the shape for that kind of suit.
I feel like it should be way more popular for the ladies. I mean, it's kind of like because you know how you guys have like the little underwear with the hole for your wieners in it. Like that's kind of like a hole for our business. You would think butt flaps would be everywhere for us ladies, but no.
I just think too many women aren't bold enough to attempt the standing up peeing.
Yeah, I don't want to pee on myself.
I've seen it achieved quite well, but I guess the most difficult part is the last few dribbles. Fuck, we're back onto peeing already. How do we get here?
The little funnel things. It's tempting, but I just don't want to pee on myself.
Butterscotch caramel sauce.
So much better.
I just want to drink it. It's so good, that stuff.
Do you know you can make not butterscotch, but caramel sauce by putting sweetened condensed milk, the cans, without opening it? You put it in a crock pot all the way full of water and like cook it overnight. And then you open it and it's caramel sauce.
Yeah. Well, you don't have to cook it overnight. Crikey, it only takes like an hour and a half.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. I just put it on low overnight.
Yeah, I was just going to say you don't want to do it too hot either. It just needs to simmer for a while. Yeah, we had cases down here in the 80s and 90s and probably earlier than that where people were boiling them and the cans have exploded. So now, what's the most popular brand? Nestle does their condensed milk, and now they do it already boiled, called top and fill, and you've already got caramel in a can.
Oh. That's not nearly as impressive.
There's better ways to do it, like brown sugar and butter. Make traditional old caramel, proper caramel. Stirring.
I like my can way, because then I can take it camping. And then I have sliced apples and caramel apples out in the woods, and that feels so luxurious. But then I do have that sticky can I can't rinse out.
Hot water.
I always put it in the bag that the apples were in. And hope there's no bears.
Yeah, true.
Basically, I'm just turning myself into bear bait in the woods is what I'm realizing.
Yeah, you can't be guaranteed. Oh no, you don't want to do that anyway, because then you're leaving stuff for them. Like, yeah, I was going to say you can't guarantee that you're going to take the same path on the return, so you don't want to leave your can beside a particular tree, because by the time you get back to the tree, it might have 14 bears around it.
Right? I'm just bibbity bebopping along, filming away for YouTube, like doop doop boop boo, bear cluster. Well, I joke about bears because the bears that we have here, like Oregon and Washington, are brown bears. They're not like they're black bears, not brown bears. They're not grizzly bears. They're like little bears that are terrified of you. They like bolt. as soon as they see you. But still, like, I don't want to risk it. They could totally eat you. Like, you know.
Give a stick.
Mostly you just yell and they run away. George, what's happening, my man? Welcome, welcome. Infused butter and brown sugar, special caramel. Also, I make little pies with green apple and sharp cheddar and caramel sauce on them. Mm-hmm. Those are pretty bomb. Another good thing to do with caramel sauce. I feel like I could go full Bubba Gump on things you can do with caramel sauce, like things you can put it on. Cheese and caramel, like cheddar cheese and caramel, is a surprisingly delicious combination.
I wouldn't say no to that. It's a good textural accompaniment too.
When Ben was little, he started doing that because I would put cheese and sliced apples and that caramel out because, you know, like apple with either is really, really good. And he's like, just started grabbing. I was confused. Another really good weird food combination that doesn't have caramel but it's still good is pork and cloves and cayenne and oranges, like as a roast.
Keep your cloves, but everything else sounds lovely.
No cloves.
No, I'm not a fan. Cloves and capers. I don't mind the old clove cigarettes. They were pretty nice. But that's about as far as I. Yeah. Yeah, I don't like cloves in food or capers. They're very similar, aren't they? Same sort of thing.
Vince says, Shanna, do you have one of those campfire pie things? Like a mini waffle iron on 2-foot long poles? No, I don't. But I have add water waffle mix. That.
That's a start.
I need waffles.
You're well on your way to a 2-foot waffle iron.
Right? I need to hold on. I gotta put that in my Amazon cart real quick because I didn't even know that was the thing. There's campfire waffle iron, and I call myself an outdoors woman.
They're not the best for a hike though, especially if you get a full cast iron job.
I know, but I really love truck camping, where I fill my truck up with absolutely everything I could possibly need.
And then camp right beside the truck.
Yeah. And then I go spend 2 weeks in the woods and come back all smelly and gross. It's amazing. And I still have a truck full of crap. Because I like to go camping alone, right? And I don't have a gun or anything like that. And like, if I have my truck, then if there's something bad, I can just run and jump in my truck and lock the doors and like drive over it or whatever. You know, I'm safe. It's like home base. Nothing can get you.
Not there. Let's stop my dog pissing in this particular spot.
Bad baby. Sure, waffle iron. Oh, good call. I wouldn't have. I would have just gotten all excited.
Yeah, well, especially if it's cast iron. I think all cast iron cooking pans need good seasoning first. However you choose to do it. I know there's multiple different ways. Huawei, I'm not 100% sure if you can still buy clove cigarettes here because they are considered a heavy, what do you call it, nicotine and tar cigarette. and we've got a very heavily regulated tobacco industry now, even though there's more, or probably just as much cloves as tobacco in a clove cigarette. A Gudang Garam, they were always my go-to ones. Indonesian brand. But I reckon you probably could if you went looking for them. The only time I ever, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, I was at a party and someone was smoking Gudangs. So I asked for a couple of hits and they gave me a whole one instead. And the joy of those things is they're like 45 milligrams or something of nicotine.
Oh,
so
it makes you. It's like smoking a cigarette for the first damn time. Oh man, rock
like
your world.
If your first cigarette was a Camel no filter or something. So yeah, I could get 3 or 4 sittings out of a single Gudang. Just put it out after 5 puffs and then go back for more later on. But yeah, and if I ever have smoked a full one, I'd be so queasy in the guts afterwards.
Oh yeah.
Oh no, those BDs, they were disgusting. GRB, I hated those things. Did you ever have those? They're like only a tiny little thin tapering cigarette, and it's a leaf wrapped around God knows what is in those things. They were hideous things. I think they're an Indian one maybe, but they are so disgusting. I hated them. But they were fashionable in the my senior years in high school. But yeah, you'd push yourself through just to maintain your coolness level.
Oh yeah.
But they were hideous. I hated those things.
That's how I felt about chewing tobacco at first. It was so bad. It was so gross. But I wasn't gonna be the only one. Like I wasn't
Not
gonna
walking around with a cup in your hand.
I just spit on the ground like a woman.
Like a real woman.
Yeah. But it was literally just that, like, I wasn't, you can do it, I can do it better. Watch this.
Yeah, Cody, I'll definitely smoke a cigar if one's offered to me. And I've been known to buy one here and there, but not a religious cigarette smoker. I don't do it on my knees, but yeah, I like smoking cigars. They're another one where you can get, if you can tolerate the relight, because sometimes when you relight a cigar, it tastes like shit, but you get through that first reburn and it's still very tasty. Yeah, you can get multiple smokes out of a nice thick stogie.
I've only ever smelled when other people smoke cigars and they smell so bad that I'm like, nah, that's how expensive. No, I'm good. Be wasted on me. More for you.
My favorite one that I've had was Jesse HC Aqua sent Aquamate, a couple out from Hawaii. And when I was visiting Aquamate down in Melbourne, Aquamate gave me one of them. And yeah, I enjoyed that over a couple of nights. It was very, very, very tasty.
Do they taste like they smell? Like, is it an acquired taste or?
I like the taste. Oh, I mean, you can have terrible cigars that taste like shit. But yeah, for the most part, they're pretty decent. Ball Space remembers asking one of the older BMXers at the skate park for a smoke, and he had White Ox rollies.
Oh.
I've been smoking for a couple of years, but yeah, that White Ox felt like I was just starting out. Yeah, it's strong.
Roll your own. That's what he's talking about, right? Roll your own cigarette.
Yeah. Yeah, we call them rollies down here.
Yeah, same. Oof, 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 booty kickers. And the thing was, they stunk. Like, especially on a rainy day, if you're hanging out under the trees smoking, right? Trying, like, to be even a little bit subtle, even though you stink with regular cigarettes, and you smoke those and come in just reeking.
Welcome back, Mark. Yeah, because we've had an incredibly massive push against smoking by our Australian government and our health system So they've increased taxes massively on smoking. So a pouch of tobacco that used to cost me, say, $18 to $20 now costs over $50 in the space of
Whoa.
about 7 or 8 years, if that.
How much is like a pack of, like, up here, a pack of cigarettes is 20 cigarettes. And like name brand smokes now are like, depending, live anywhere from like around 10 to $20 a pack, depending. Like over on the
Yeah.
East Coast, it's crazy high.
I think I don't want to speak out of school because I haven't bought tailor-made. That's what we call the pre-made cigarettes down here, tailor-made. There's probably another word for it. That was a pathetic burp, by the way. I shame myself. But I imagine a packet of 20 is probably $30-$35 because if once you're up about your 40s are probably a more popular size in cigarettes, you're looking at still up around the $50 mark for a packet of cigarettes.
Dang.
I mean,
that's a way to get people to cut back on smoking, man.
And it's
Shoot.
I mean, it's harsh too because most of the people that are addicted to smoking are in the lower socioeconomic zones, hammering the less well-to-do even further into the ground. But it's good motivation to stop, says the guy lighting a cigarette.
Well, and that's the messed up thing about smoking. At least, like our generation, my generation, we grew up knowing you're not supposed to smoke. Like, it's not healthy. It's not chic. It really isn't good for you. You shouldn't do it. We did it anyway because we were little turds. Like, we're dumb.
Rebels.
Yeah. I thought it was cool. I was cool. I don't know. Whatever. Like, it was stupid. And now kids, like, definitely know. And I hope that it's just not a thing. It's such a waste of energy and health and stuff. Like, also, I vape. So
your coolness level just went up anyway, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. And I call this my flute because whenever I would see people vaping when I was smoking, when it first started coming out, I was an asshole and I made fun of them. I was like, that douchebag. And now that I'm vaping, I'm like, yeah, this is my douche flute. I'm an asshole.
Yeah, I found a few weeks, maybe a month or so ago, I found extra long filters as well. So I started using them to convince myself that I'm smoking less tobacco. I'm not 100% certain that it works.
It's got to be better somehow.
Yeah. I mean, they're only, let's say a standard filter is only half an inch long. These guys are maybe 3/4 of an inch. So it's not a huge amount more, but probably.
Hey, every quarter inch counts.
That's what. Spoken like a true gem. A true appreciator of the inch.
You know, they say football's a game of inches. Well, some things are smaller than football. Mark says they tax the hell out of smokes and then ban the nicotine if you want to vape instead. So you just get no nicotine vapes? I would be so frustrated. I would just walk around perpetually angry, not knowing why, thinking I was smoking.
It's like, what's the point of decaf?
I don't know. I don't know.
You enjoy the flavor of coffee so much you'll tolerate it without the kickback?
No.
Yeah. And decaf tea as well. What's the point of that? The tea's already got a property in it which counteracts the effects of the caffeine in it. So why would you need a decaf tea unless you're incredibly sensitive to caffeine, I suppose?
Why wouldn't you just drink water then?
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to drink something that you don't really love the taste of, just drink water. It's better for you.
See, a lot of people used to, a lot of Australians travel to Southeast Asia every year as tourists and whatnot. And people used to bring back, cartons and cartons of cigarettes, but now they've also limited. Like, I think you can only bring in 1 or 2 cartons of cigarettes from overseas back into the country. 1
That's
liter
not
of
enough for a
distilled.
habit. What the hell?
No. So, and you get lots of people getting fined for bringing more than the amount in that they're allowed to bring in. So they
Wait,
get their
how much is the
ciggies.
fine? And is it like,
Oh,
because
it's
if
hundreds.
cigarettes cost that much, like if it's $50 a pack and you're getting 10 packs per carton and the fine is like a few $100,
Worth the risk, you reckon?
yeah, maybe.
They have
I got a
a
criminal mind, Dr. Black. I'm always looking for an angle.
looking for the in,
Can't trust
the in and
me.
the out.
I am. I'm like,
Well,
I think
I'm
there's
not
a
sure.
way.
I'm not sure if the show still goes, but we used to have a show called bloody hell. What was it? Show? I can't remember what it was called, but it was basically the goings on of customs as people are coming into the country, because Australia is very, very protective of what comes into the country, and the amount of times that people have been done for a suitcase full of cigarettes that they have just packed with cigarettes, and they don't think that the scanners are going to detect it or something like that, and they lose hundreds of dollars worth of cigarettes and get maybe a $450 fine or something.
You
Border
gotta be
control.
sneaky. Like whatever happened, like you can't do it now because body scan, but like tape it to your body, like you got to be smooth about it, people.
Yeah, well, maybe not try and bring in a commercial quantity of cigarettes at a time. It's
Also
pretty hard,
that, yeah,
pretty
like
hard to hide that many boxes of cigarettes, especially if they've all got like a plasticky foil inside, which is definitely going to show up on x-rays in all of these perfectly arranged rows in your
right,
suitcase.
right. It's like, gee, what's that? Oh, I don't know, a whole bunch of cigarettes. Gee, you think, Frank? Yeah, Lloyd, let's check.
They'd be better off like emptying all of the loose ciggies out into a suitcase and then repacking them when they get here. Put some
Just bust
effort in and
all of
earn
the
your money.
tobacco out of it, put the tobacco in bags, repack them, rebrand them.
Even home growing tobacco is illegal down here. You're not allowed to do it. Massive fines for that. I think it's about
Can you grow weed?
$40,000 in 2 states in Australia, or 1 state and 1 territory in Australia. It's legal to have half a dozen or a dozen plants for personal use. But I imagine that's all on the, like, there's a lot of change coming with regard to marijuana down here.
I mean, they took everything else from you guys. They at least got to give you some weed. Like, nobody gets in trouble on weed. They just get kind of hungry and sleepy and dumb. Like, it's very low problem issues.
We
And
do
they're cranky from not having actual nicotine. So maybe it would help kind of ease things down.
assuage those guys. Yeah.
And it's cheap. Give the working man a break. What about the proletariat?
Yeah, you can in New South Wales, at least the state that I live in, you can get it medically, but it has to be prescribed by a doctor, and then you have to obtain it from an authorized government source. So it's not like we have dispensaries like you've got in California and probably all over the place now.
In Oregon and Washington, it is literally like walking into a giant old-fashioned candy store. There's a big glass counter that has shelves and different kinds of weed and all the different kinds of edibles and all the pipes and papers and paraphernalia you could possibly want. And then the walls are lined with jars of weed. All of them different kinds.
And there's no bad ones.
Oh, no, there's trash weed. There's
grade.
totally no, there's garbage. Absolute garbage weed out there, for sure. For sure. Like anything that you can buy for $100 an ounce,
Yeah, no one's touching that shit.
Oh, people do for sure, but it's not good weed. But you can still get.
It's those people who are spending $100 a week on cigarettes that need the $100 weed.
Exactly.
Ballspace says I think they increase the amount of plants per household. So yeah, maybe it is up to the dozen.
I'll be in front of a Senate committee soon, and not here. Here it's legal for recreational. You can grow it, you can buy it, you can sell it. That's fine. It's just like you have to be 21.
Sensible. That's an excellent story, Vince. The what is it? The subtle misdirection that got customs. They were so focused on getting the dude for a bottle of water, they missed the ounce of weed. That's a good trick. Might have to try that next time I'm trying to smuggle heroin over the border.
Everybody knows you keister heroin. Come on.
Yeah, I was just going to say I don't have to put it up my butt anymore.
Nope. That's not true. People don't do that. Don't. We don't. You don't. Like, haha. Your government's totally coming for you. My government doesn't care. Your host.
G'day, Atkins. How's it going, mate? The 100 zips aren't too bad here. Just stay away from them. I'll take it. Is zip code for ounce?
An ounce. Yeah.
We call them Oscars.
Oh. For years, I didn't know that zips was an ounce and thought it meant like a stimulant. I was so confused in so many conversations for years. And I just kept my mouth shut because I was like, I do not understand what is happening. Thought we came here for weed. They're talking about zips. I'm in the wrong place. Keistering heroin is the best part of doing heroin. Well, okay, if you speak so.
It's certainly one of the highlights.
Ian's been lurking.
Lurking and jerking while we've been talking about food.
Oh, Cody's in Colorado, so they have some of the most relaxed pot laws in the world. Yeah, I'm in Washington and Oregon, basically.
Aren't mushrooms and stuff legal now as well in Colorado?
And Oregon. They've been officially decriminalized, but they didn't. They haven't set up the infrastructure for it yet. Like, it's not legal to grow them. It's not legal to have them. None of that's legal. What it's set up now is the framework is that you can go and recreationally or with a doctor's prescription go somewhere and trip, like at their facility. But last I looked, you weren't allowed to take anything with you or whatever. But mushrooms are super easy to grow. It's like super basic. I wouldn't recommend just going and trying to find them because like unless you know somebody who knows.
Well,
you don't want to get that wrong.
I have a considerably large container of dried mushroom powder from the summer because we had like right outside the gate over there in the cow paddock. You could go out and we were picking hundreds at a time. So I'd just dry them up and then grind them down into a powder, and best way to store it. And even when we were on the drone recovery mission the other day, it's been cold as heck, very little sunlight. I know there's been plenty of sunlight, a little bit of rain. And when we were walking back up, discovered these nice 3 big ones like this size. Yep. So my son picked them up and took them with him. I've got enough in the container inside. I don't need any more.
You can eat them.
Growing.
You can eat them fresh, but the flavor is so powerful. It's hard to get really, really intense. Yeah, it is. But like when you eat them dried, it's literally just kind of like eating dirt. Just a little dirt. It's not bad. It's like good dirt. It's weird. People make a whole thing out of it. It's not a thing. But fresh, it's kind of a thing. But they work really good then.
Yeah, BJ, you might want to consider it for, I don't know if you use it already for your pain and injuries and whatnot. Certainly good for that.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Cody, you've got homework, mate. Find out and let us know next week what the laws in Colorado are regarding psychoactive mushrooms.
Well, here in Oregon, the reason why they were able to do it is because the medical research has been done, especially with like vets and PTSD and all of those, like here in the United States, like Yay America things that appealed. Like it's one of those things where they're like, no, it helps the injured vets. You can't deny this. And so they didn't. And so it's one of those things where it's cool because it's destigmatizing something that has ostracized communities of people. So people are able to find some common ground, which is neat.
Huawei's he's looking for a promotion within my company. He doesn't want to just be a moderator. He wants to be my legal counsel as well.
I feel like you should listen to him. I watched that Johnny Depp and Amber Heard thing, and I tell you what, Australia play. Australia's still coming for her. You don't want them on your tail, man.
Who's Australia still coming for? Johnny Depp about his dogs.
Amber Heard, I guess, not Johnny Depp, like her. She, like, I don't know, she was making people say, like, she had her assistant tell the government, like, lie to the government. The assistant lied to the government at her behest or something like that, and they don't appreciate it. They're not fans of that behavior. So, according to the rumors, I don't actually have any contacts in the Australian government, but my sources say she's still in big trouble because of all the stuff that came out during the trials. Since it's in like a court of law, apparently Australia's like, yo, that's new evidence. Because it was like evidence.
So it's the most expensive shit on a bed ever, wasn't it? It's going to get more expensive for her.
It was funny because my son was like, whose side are you on in this? And at first I was like, I'm on Johnny Depp's side. And then he's like, well, good, because me too. And you know what? Papa, because that's what he calls his dad, he's like, Papa said, son, I tell you what, if I ever see you walk up on two millionaires fighting and step in to do anything other than grab a wallet, I'm going to knock you out. And I was like, wait a minute. That's solid advice. You should listen to that, son. This is rich people like fussing about crazy rich people things. This is a distraction.
Yeah.
But it was entertaining. It was.
G'day, Holly. How are you, love? Hope you're well. Well, let's come to that section of the show where I have to go and wrestle a crocodile and fill up my bev. So, you know, ladies and gentlemen,
I'll do what I do best. Ramble. Holly, how's it going, lady? Oh, BJ, I'm so sorry. I hope that like you can find some relief. That's an awful way to live in pain. It's no good. So what else is going on? Oh, I was going to. So my signal's going in and out. We know that's going on. It's always exciting. It's probably because it's so hot in here. Vince says, I went to push the button, but I can't push the button because it's not my show. Vince Olshavy says, if two rich people are fist fighting, jump in the middle and hope one or more punches your ass out. Payday. Yeah, pretty much. Like if crazy rich people are fighting, let crazy rich people fight. You just keep doing you. I ain't got no dog in that fight. That's a horrible saying. I never thought about that before. Whoops.
The dog in a fight.
Yeah, isn't that about like dog fighting? I have no dog in that fight, so I don't care. Like I would care if it was my dog.
Yeah, I mean it's probably in relation to dog fighting.
Man, I'm gonna have to come up with something new. I'm gonna have to actually think for myself instead of just parroting things I've heard other people say my whole life. So oppressed.
You could say I don't have a horse in that race, but it's probably just as bad.
Yeah, give it 20 years. Horse racing is actually super terrible what they do to horses. But anyway, I'm sure not all of them everywhere. Mark said, oh, there's a fire in Oregon. Is it anywhere near you, Shanna? I didn't know there was a fire in Oregon. I don't watch the news.
Close, then.
Let's see. What was it, 2 or 3 years ago when we had the big ringside fire in Oregon? It was huge. It like burned down my whole favorite forest. So lame. I was actually camping in the dispersed camping like 3 miles from where the fire started, and mostly it blew the opposite direction of me. So I was safe, but I got evacuated by the wildland firefighters.
That was your ulterior motive, wasn't it? Being rescued by firefighters.
I wish, like, it was such a wasted opportunity. Like, I didn't even hit on anybody. I was so dumb. Oh my gosh, I was so dumb. Like, you know how you see videos of people in emergency situations or like something traumatic happened and they just say the stupidest stuff. And you're like, oh my gosh, ha ha ha. You laugh at them and go, I would never say something so dumb. Well, I do that too, except I'm wrong. I do say stuff that dumb because the firefighters talk to me and they're like, hey, there's a fire. You need to get out of here. And I'm like, what? No, there isn't. I went into town yesterday and checked. The fire's like 100 miles that way. And they're like, no, there's a fire. Go. And I was like, oh shit, okay, I'll get my shit and go. They were like walking through the forest when they found me. It wasn't even like it was people walking. And I was like, no, because I thought I had checked and I was okay. And they woke me up. I wasn't awake. I hadn't had coffee or anything.
Rum Creek, Mark says. Do you know where Rum Creek is?
No.
Can't be too close then.
I
don't have a Leroy in that field. I like that one, Cody. It's ambiguous to say the least.
Oh no. It's like 6 hours from me.
6 hours, yeah, you've got ages to pack and run.
Yeah, there's like rivers and mountain ranges.
It's got to climb and get over water.
Yeah, with snow. It would take a lot of fire to cross the Cascades.
What are you packing, Holly?
Ooh, she's packing heat.
Moving house? Going on holiday? What else do we pack for? Shipping? Cones? Don't know if do Americans pack cones.
Oh yeah, like rollies, but it's a like an empty pre-roll.
Nah, that's not what I'm talking about.
What's the cone?
It's what you put in a bong.
Oh, no, bowls. We call them bowls. We
Yeah.
pack bowls.
Oh yeah, Holly's moving house. Worst thing that can happen to a human being, really, isn't it? Unless you're moving somewhere really, really much nicer than where you're at now, then it's exciting.
I hate moving in every part of it. It's awful because just when you think you're done, like once you get everything all packed up, no, you have to unpack it and then unpack it.
Yeah, I don't want to do that ever again.
Mm-mm. That's always my whole goal is to never move. Except I want to own a house and I don't live in my own house. So then my goal becomes how do I find a way to buy the house that I am currently living in so that I don't have to move? It's not my dream house, but I live here. So how can I buy it?
See you, Vitra. Thanks for hanging out. Even if we did probably discuss you a little bit.
Sorry.
And all that
I'll
other
come up
stuff.
with discussion points that aren't bodily fluids.
That does suck, Shanna. I mean, bloody Holly. Sorry, I called you Holly and her Shanna. Farm is being foreclosed on. That does
So
make
sorry,
a terrible error.
That's brutal.
Gravity bong story.
I passed out doing a gravity bong hit and I had a giant knot on my head and everybody laughed and laughed. It was terrible.
Do you want to define what a gravity bong is for me? Because it might have a different meaning down here as well.
I forget exactly how it works, but it involves like a 2-liter plastic bottle with the bottom cut off, a bucket of water, and burning weed. And somehow all of that happens and like you push down and pull up and suck. And
pulling up happens first. You light it as you pull it up and the air pressure inside sucks all the smoke in. Then you take the lid off and you jam down on it.
Yeah. And then you stand up really fast and pass the fuck out and everybody laughs at you.
That's essentially it, yeah. Bloody hell, what? We don't call them... Oh, we call them bucket bongs.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Keep it simple, you know. Let's not involve science. Let's just involve nouns.
Let's make it a list for what you need.
Yeah. I do remember, actually, we were doing them in my backyard. There was probably 4 or 5 of my mates over, and good callback too. I think I had some clove cigarettes at the time.
Yes.
And one of the boys, and this is like, you know, maybe 17, 18 years old, so 30 years ago, roughly.
Yeah.
And this guy still talks about it when I bump into him, you know, every once in a while. He'll still remind me of the day that I did this to him. But instead of packing him a complete marijuana cone with a little bit of tobacco in it, I put Gudang Garam clove cigarette in
that is fucked up, man.
In the bottom of the cone, and then just sprinkled a little bit of green and brown on top of it. And when he had his turn, and he wasn't a smoker, he wasn't a regular smoker or anything, so he was already a little bit standoffish. So I, of course, pushed my hand down on his head.
Oh my God. You were such an asshole.
That was potentially in my top 5 nastiest things I've ever done in my life. And yeah, he basically rolled around the backyard for about 15 minutes, coughing and spewing and spitting, and yeah. I instantly regretted it. At least I wasn't a complete sadist about it. I mean, sure, I laughed a lot, but I knew what I did was wrong. I had instant.
I knew I should not have done that to my friend, and I wouldn't do it again. But boy, did I enjoy it for a little while.
I'm not sure if he ever came over after that, but you know,
I would hope not. I mean, that's because you don't inhale cloves like you do a cigarette, or weed. That would just and it would make you so sick, especially that
ball space. Yeah, that's right. We do have gravities, but yeah, use a smaller bottle, and it's got a hole in the bottom and your cone piece on the top, same as like a a bucket bong, hole in the bottom of the bottle, you cover it, fill it up with water, screw your cone piece on the top, light it, let the water out of the bottle, and then suck the smoke out of the smoke-filled bottle at the end. That's what we call a gravity.
So complicated. Why do stoners make everything so complicated?
I think when I was a kid, though, I think those were called, well, not necessarily a kid, but when I can remember doing them, we called them turbos.
Oh, they do get you super fucked up. That's true. Yeah. Did you guys ever do such brilliant activities as you and all of your friends take a 40-ounce bottle of very, very, very cheap beer and tape it to your hand so that you don't put it down until it's gone?
I didn't, but I'm sure it's a thing. When I was younger, I wasn't a big beer drinker. I couldn't drink much beer without spewing. And even now, I can't, like wintertime, I can't drink beer. When it gets hot, I've still got beers in the fridge from last summer, but it got to a certain temperature where beers and me don't get along. So there's probably once we get a decent hot day, those beers might get drunk. But yeah, I just don't. I can't do beers unless it's really hot weather. Yeah, no doubt. Ball spaces, different names for everything.
The dog was barking outside the door, and now she's like, come in. So I opened the door to let her in, and now she's just standing there desperate for me to get back up and open the door and put her back out. Like she's just controlling me. This is what animal abuse looks like. Coercive control. See, I didn't consent to that kiss either. She just thinks she can have her way with me.
Now, is it a girl or a boy dog? Because you called it him and
her. She's a real little bitch.
Indeed. She doesn't look very big at all.
She isn't.
Holy dooly. That was like 25 finches came out of the seed tray at once. It's wild. They're so jittery, though. The slightest movement makes them fly.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah, I actually got out of bed early this morning for a change, and I came out here and I had probably 3 different flocks of finches. There was more than 30 birds hanging around my seed tray. And they have fights and stuff in the seed tray and fling it all out over the ground. And they make these, I think I've learnt some of their language because there's a particular peep that they make when there's no edible seed left in the bowl, and they just look straight at me and they make this cranky sound.
You over there, make yourself useful.
I even had one this morning while I was sitting here land on the table directly in front of me, like 2 feet away from me, and just looking at me. And I thought maybe I should check if there's any seed in that tray or if it's all just husks.
We have finches up here too. Same. They're little bullies. They like knock everything out. They're the only things that chase off squirrels.
Really?
Well, and crows. The crows pretty much are boss. But crows are awesome, and I'm like an idiot, I think, because crows get to know you. So all the crows in the neighborhood probably think of me as some sort of person that's been injured and is not to be trusted, because I'm always trying to make friends with them, because you can make friends with crows. And if you do, they'll bring you stuff. And I follow this kid on Instagram that made friends with a crow. So I'm like, if this kid can do it, I can do it. None of the crows will like come near me now. I walk outside, they fly away. They used to like see what I was doing. I didn't make friends with crows.
It's sort of it's farming territory around here, so I think a lot of farmers shoot at crows and stuff. So all of the crows around here don't necessarily feel that comfortable around the humans. And I've tried it. There's a particular gate post beside the gate over there where the crow always, there's like 3 or 4 of them that come into the yard when there's no one around. So if I see a crow there, I'll come out, they'll fly off over into the trees, and then I'll go inside and get some meat or something and go and drop it on top of the fence post, and then I'll stand there for a minute so that if a crow is watching me, it knows that it was me that's put it there. But yeah, I've not successfully managed to make the crows comfortable around me yet. But I'd really like that to happen.
I
Such good
managed to
bird.
make the crows uncomfortable around me. I feel like that's kind of a thing that is, I'm like, yeah, makes sense. I gave him stuff. I gave him peanut butter crackers. I thought that was gold.
I think you want to, go straight to the top shelf and offer them meat. Oh, jeez.
I'm
I
gonna
just
go
moved
buy
my
some
feet,
steak for
guys.
him and go get him a steak. Be like, come back. The dog will just get super pissed at me. Watch me outside, like trying to feed the birds steak. Probably poop on my bed.
And it'd be probably deserved. Yeah, I think I was telling you last time we were streaming about how, like, I'll if we have like steaks or lamb chops or something with bones, then I just chuck the bones out in the backyard for dogs or cats or whatever to take away. But the crows come along and pick them up and they put them in the bird bath to soften them up so they can eat them later or something. And that in turn then provides food for the bloodworms that naturally breed in the bird baths.
Yeah.
It's a good cycle of life. Reuse, recycle, something else.
It's so delightfully gross and exciting and creepy. Yeah, I approve. It kind of makes me want to get a bird bath.
I have two right beside each other. One's very shallow though, so it dries out in a couple of days if I don't top them up. But it did rain last night, so they both seem to have water in them at the moment.
I have a little stick tote out back that my
what?
roommate had, a plastic tote, like a storage box.
Ah, right. I thought you said a plastic toad.
That would be sick, wouldn't it? No, a plastic tote, but
Actually,
we
even
cut a hole in the top.
Plastic toe beside your door would be pretty cool too. A big toe ornament. That'd be pretty neat. Toes, because toes are so attractive.
I actually have, it's not, never mind. Anyway, so I have a tub out back and I have fish in it, like just little guppies, but they're huge, like compared to because I just snagged some out of the tank inside, put them in the tote outside, and I'm like, see what happens. They're like twice as big as the ones inside, and I was having to top off the water every single day. And I was like, go out there, top off the water, scoop off the duckweed, repeat the next day. Then I figured out if you quit scooping off the duckweed, you don't have to top off the water. I mean, like once a week now I top it off because it doesn't evaporate because like it isn't exposed to the air, I guess, as much.
I did some duckweed out of this tank behind me last night, and I think I got about 1 kilo out of it, which is like 2 pounds of duckweed, and it's still covered in it.
Yes. Yeah, the duckweed is like one of those things where you don't just deal with it, you wear it.
Yeah, literally.
I
had a duckweed sleeve last night.
Right? Who needs tattoos when you can have duckweed? At my last fish club meeting, I bought a whole sandwich baggie full of red root floaters. So now in my fish tanks, it's a battle for surface area between duckweed and red root floaters. They both seem to be winning.
Stalemate.
Mm-hmm. They're just stacking up. Like I have like duckweed towers and red root floater towers. I'm kind of curious to see what happens. I mean, eventually it's going to like probably all crash or something. I don't know. Maybe it'll just like flow out and become a waterfall.
Slow-mo waterfall.
Water ever. It's pure, like glacial runoff.
Oh, ball space. If I'm back before your mum's left, I'll try and remember to bag you up some duckweed as well. Then no shortage of it at the moment. I went into the local pet shop in town yesterday. I wanted to get a couple of black moors because they're my favorite goldfish.
Ooh,
But she didn't have
and
any.
duckweed eaters.
Yeah. I thought they'd go great in this big tank since I only got the Gambusia in there now with the bristle nose and whatnot. But yeah, I didn't want to. There was some other goldfish with bits of black on them and stuff, but yeah, I didn't want bits. I wanted an entire blackfish, thank you, or two. So yeah, I might have to buy some online.
Oh,
There you go. Borrow some of Vince's fancy goldfish, and your duckweed will be gone. Depending on how far away Vince is.
The goldfish will eat all of my plants, though. I don't think they're going to eat just the duckweed. I'm pretty sure they're going to eat all of everything, which is not what I want.
That's a pretty valid point, actually, because I've got Windelov in the big tank as well. I wonder if goldfish will eat that, being that it's a type of Java fern. Don't goldfish leave Java fern alone?
I think some goldfish will leave some things alone, but the problem is if you want them to not eat your plants, you're going to have to feed them well enough that they won't be eating the duckweed.
Yeah, true.
Like, it depends. And some, you know how it is with fish, like there is no absolute.
Yeah, well, that's that leads us nicely into Ball Space's question about what you think of how goldfish and bristlenose go together. Now, you've
Peas in a pod.
Yeah, a lot of people will say, no, you can't do that.
Keep an eye on them, but
goldfish are cold water fish and bristlenose are hot water fish. But bristlenose can handle 22 degrees and goldfish can handle 26 degrees. So
I don't have heaters in my tanks at all. I don't have heaters in any of my tanks, and I have bristlenose plecos, and they do just fine.
What are you pinching?
Besides, cooler temperatures lead to slower metabolisms. They need less food. They live longer. The fry, you get to enjoy their developmental phases longer. Unless you're breeding and trying to turn and burn for profit, cooler temperatures are generally better. Some fish obviously need higher temperatures, but by and large, cooler's fine.
Yeah, I think they go fine together. I have no problem with it. But it's certainly one of those topics. Jesus, that stinks, doesn't
it? Who's fart?
No, my son's here stealing some Java moss out of one of my buckets of Java moss that I have growing as spare, which you don't really need to do because it just grows so well in all the tanks anyway. But yeah, he's plonked.
I don't think you can ever have enough Java moss.
Yeah, you can.
Turns out you can. Yeah. I don't have enough Java moss. Do you think it'll last the 6 months in shipping for you to send me some?
Probably. That's pretty hardy as far as moss goes. I think it'll survive the apocalypse.
Dry it out in the sun. I'll get it, put the powder into my tank, and boom, Java moss will happen.
I reckon that's highly likely because I think the same thing can happen with duckweed. It's that prolific that you can just have the tiniest little particle of cells, and then the cells will specialize into root and leaf cells, and it's a pretty amazing scientific plant. Cody, at this stage, I wouldn't keep a rare fish species because I'm such a slack, lazy fish keeper in the last 2 years. So it would mean that I would have to focus on tank maintenance and all that stuff that I'm very slack with at the moment. So at this stage, no, but probably yes at some stage in my life if I get my shit together.
My turn. Yes, I would. Yes, I would. In fact, I do. I love killifish. And the cool thing about killifish is that their habitats are endangered from habitat destruction.
There's more moss, different terrestrial moss around the other side of the garden shed if you want other moss. Sorry, keep going. My bad.
Yeah, no. Oh, you're good. Moss is always, I love moss. I have some terrestrial moss that was growing on a stick that I put in my aquarium that is still growing underwater. It was probably bad to do, but I did it anyway, and I'm not sorry.
Yeah,
But I have
it works.
killifish. And the cool thing about keeping killifish is that you don't hybridize them. You keep them like segregated to the collection point that they were
You
collected
gotta
from.
keep them segregated.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, hey,
And
hey, hey, come out
there
and play.
are instances where scientists have come back to hobbyists who have the killifish from that collection point once the habitat has been reconstructed and they are being reintroduced into the wild. So I like them because they're awesome and pretty. Like the one over wherever that way is a female and beautiful, and the male is even prettier. But it's just super cool that maybe someday a scientist could want my fish. Like nerd love.
What would yours be,
Blue
Cody?
Goliath.
Cody, you asked the question. You've got to have an answer as well, I imagine. Let us know. Let us know in the comments below. Like,
He
share, and
said,
subscribe.
Cody says, I bred a few blue Galaris killie. That is awesome. I have some kind of Galaris killie, but I threw away the bag without writing down what kind it is because I'm a noob.
No, it's because you were so infatuated. It was love at first sight.
I really was. They're the most beautiful fish. Like the ones that I don't know what kind they are purple with yellow, but almost like this all solid mauve-y purple. I've never seen a freshwater fish as colorful as killifish. Like I'm obsessed. I'm totally, and you get to find out where they came from, like down to like this city and place, and like sometimes like as much as GPS coordinates and the trip that they were collected on and who collected them. Like, oh, it's so nerdy.
Log perch. I'm going to have to Google that. I'll have to open a new tab so I don't remove my fart in a jar tab.
BJ says there is an endangered fish in the river 3/4 of a mile away. I'd love to breed and release a log perch. And she says killies are incredible.
That log perch looks like some kind of loach, but it's not. It's pretty cool looking. Stripy.
Able to share it? BJ says it's the Roanoke River log perch.
Which one did you say?
Roanoke River log perch.
That was a good season of American Horror Story, the Roanoke one.
Oh my gosh, it so was. I've loved all of American Horror Story. It has been so campy, creepy, but like super good, kind of like barely campy.
I think the last. Oh no, I started the Apocalypse one where they're in the nuclear bunker, but I haven't finished that one yet, so I've still got some watching to do.
I haven't watched that one yet. I like to save up the seasons and then go on like a bender, or I spend like a whole weekend in bed just watching stuff.
That's that Roanoke one is certainly prettier than the previous one that I had up.
That is stunning.
It's pretty nice. Gotta love when the caudal fin's bigger than the dorsal fin. That's what the one behind the dorsal's called, isn't it? The caudal fin.
I believe so.
That's
really know.
Yeah, that's exposing my lack of research and study into the fish hobby of late.
Cody has a hookup with Greg Sage. Oh my gosh. That is so sick, man. I'm jealous.
I don't even know who that is. Sorry, Greg.
Greg Sage is a live bearer, rare fish keeping guru. Like, he's been doing it forever. He's amazing. He has super, super, super rare stuff that he's able to get to breed. And for a long time, he was also like one of the only sources of levamisole, I believe, something like that, like super randomly. But everybody in the States kind of in fish keeping sort of recognizes that name. He has waiting lists that are years long for fish.
Yeah, right. So he's obviously doing something right.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Oh, they were saying the caudal is the tail fin. That could be.
Absolutely correct. I did Google that. I fact-checked myself, and it is the tail fin. The one behind the dorsal fin is also called a dorsal fin.
Oh. Well, that's not very creative.
I believe the first one is called the primary dorsal fin, and the second one is called the secondary
dorsal fin. Dude, look how fishy this has gotten. What? We're
so rare. Remember earlier in the stream when I talked about an air pump? Oh, so much fish content. It's ridiculous.
And there's been a fish on screen like the whole time. So
yeah, we might have to stop that in future. It's just a little too much.
Right? It's kind of weird. I'll sit this way, so it just looks like I'm wearing like that Steve Martin funny hat.
The salmon three.
And I've got like, and I'm in between, and I've just got one fern instead of being in between two ferns. I've got one weird looking fern.
Hey, that's a nice reference because that Between Two Ferns movie, that was a Scott Aukerman project. Do you know that? Do you know Scott Aukerman?
No.
He's a world famous screenwriter and most famously known for his podcast Comedy Bang Bang.
Well, what do you know? Can you believe that tie-in? What, y'all? I couldn't have done that on purpose. I would have screwed it up.
It's almost like I sent you notes of things
that
to
I wouldn't have read them. I would have been like, oh, I forgot.
But yeah, that's a perfect opportunity to call back to my other show After the Bang Bang, which is based on the Comedy Bang Bang podcast releases.
Is that perchance about improvised comedy?
It is improvised comedy. It's very zany, very crazy, and it is also very difficult for someone who doesn't know what goes on in Comedy Bang Bang to listen to one episode and instantly go, I'm in for sure, because there's a lot of inside jokes. There's a lot of callbacks to previous episodes. It's the sort of thing you need to do like 4 or 5 episodes before you know what's going on. The first time I listened to Comedy Bang Bang, I was like, what the heck is going on here? But yeah, after a while and after I got into a bit more improvised comedy stuff, it's my favorite podcast. Zach Galifianakis was the star. I believe Scotty Aukerman was the executive producer and writer as well. I think Scott and Zach wrote that movie. I'll Google that to get confirms.
I barely know what it was about. Zach Galifianakis. Yeah, that guy.
It was basically...
President Obama did it, and that was cool, I guess. I think I saw a meme somewhere.
Yeah, it was basically the movie. I mean, it is a talk show as well. It was a talk show first, and then they did a movie version. And the movie version centers on the group of, the producers and assistants and the host and whatnot traveling around. And the interviews were always incredibly awkward questions and stuff that people would not necessarily expect to be asked.
It's like a first date with me.
So, dinner date with you. Awkward.
Yeah, questions you don't expect to be asked. Answers I don't expect to get. Minus the ferns.
And there we go. Scott Aukerman was the director and writer. He wrote the screenplay for the movie. So yeah, he's also a writer on Scott Aukerman. He wrote Shark Tale, or he's a writer on Shark Tale, that old animated movie. What else has he's written for many awards ceremonies. He's done lots of stuff. Scott Aukerman. Yeah, that was
But
lovely.
most importantly, he's done Comedy Bang Bang.
Absolutely. And me and my friend Brendan do a show called After the Bang Bang on YouTube, where we talk about this week's Comedy Bang Bang episode, as linked in the chat by Huawei. Thank you, Huawei.
And can I just say, there is no more appealing or alluring name than After the Bang Bang. Who doesn't want to be there?
You
That's
are?
where all the kids are.
That's the time when you light a cigarette, isn't it? After the Bang Bang.
I mean, if you encourage smoking, it's a very expensive habit in your country, I've heard.
We also we don't smoke or swear much. We get bleeped if we swear on that show, and if I burp, there's generally there's sound effects that Brendan plays, because there's been quite a few burp references in Comedy Bang Bang over the years, so we've got a few sound clips to play if I burp, because Brendan doesn't really like burping that much, but unfortunately, where I go, the burps go too.
You're just a gassy kind of fella.
I have an overactive digestive system, or maybe it's underactive, because I don't fart as much as I burp, but when I fart, they're great.
Nobody's farts are great. That's not a thing. I'm just going to ruin this for everybody, okay? Farts are gross.
I think it's subjective.
I think it's
or
poop
objective.
air. It's poop air. It's poop air that you are sticking in other people's bodies uninvited. Unless you're farting by yourself, and then it's fine.
Yeah, and then it's hands in the air. Like,
yeah.
Like you don't
Then
care.
party time. Yeah. Is that all that noise when y'all are in the bathroom? Now I understand what's going on.
Yeah, I can totally understand if we don't get a lot of viewers over to After the Bang Bang, because improvised comedy is definitely a niche market, and it can be very, very confusing if you don't know what's going on. People come in and they think these people are real people, but they're just pretending to be people most of the time, and just being as zany as they possibly can. But yeah, we should be recording our next episode tonight, or at least the first half of it, and hopefully it'll be out by Friday my time.
Ooh, that's very exciting. Vince, that can't be right. Vince just said, I once read an article talking about the fact that the majority of people enjoy the smell of their own flatulence.
I would imagine that it's more based on the fact that they prefer the smell of their own to the smell of other people's. But I'm not sure if that huge percentage of people that enjoy, I think they might be using the term enjoy a little bit liberally. They can tolerate their own more than they can tolerate others.
What is a crikey?
Crikey's when you go, crikey. I'm like, that's amazing. Oh, wow.
Huawei's name is crikey. I feel like that would be like an epic belch. And then you could go crikey.
Huawei, it's spelled with, there's only one C. It's Key at the end. Because the way you spelled it is cricky, and that's just a nonsense word.
That would be silly. Dr. Black would never do something so silly. I won't kill you this time, Vince. But you should know I'm a big fan of getting the messenger. Dum dum dum. Not really. Airborne fecal matter is nothing to cry about. I mean, what if you get pink eye from it and then your eye waters? Then airborne fecal matter literally is something to cry about.
Well, it's also a badge of honor.
Ew. Ew.
I got farted in my eye. Yeah.
I think it's a sign you're a little kid that doesn't wash their hands well enough after using the bathroom. What is Eric Andre show? The Eric Andre show? Who's Eric Andre?
He's a pretty funny comedian. Pretty crazy and wildly out there. G'day, Jay. How's it going? Buffalo Photo. How are you, Larry?
Larry.
Lur. Do people call you Lur? Is Lur an acceptable shortening for Larry?
I don't think so, but I'm sure people do it.
Yeah, the only time I've ever heard it is the guitar player from Primus. Who's Lur Lalonde, but his name's Larry. No, it's just because they were always drunk and stoned and couldn't speak properly. Calm down,
right, that
kid.
was just a slur. Lur.
Oh, you should have come earlier, Jay, when we were talking about pee and poop and all
No,
gross
we've
stuff.
done so good. We got so far from there.
We always manage. We keep rolling back to farts is the callback of the day.
It is. It is. We could have gotten stuck on puking. I'm glad we didn't get stuck there. Because then there's the sympathetic pukers you got to worry about.
For those that are concerned as to why Shanna raises puking, I puked earlier in the episode. I had a hair stuck in my throat, and I have a very, 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 very sensitive gag reflex. It's probably short.
Very short gag reflex. That kind of works.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Only takes a little
one
tiny
knuckle
hair.
deep.
So yeah, whilst I was trying to remove the hair that was stuck in my throat, I triggered a vomit. So yeah, there was a spew. I'm gonna have to go and review the footage and see if I came out all red-eyed and stuff, because normally I come out looking like I just smoked 47 bongs.
And you will be happy to know he had turkey for lunch. We found that out too. Don't want you to miss that. There's turkey for lunch.
Me, yeah, liquid turkey. I'd like a single size ham and pineapple pizza for lunch. And that's, clearly I didn't chew very well because lots of the pieces of pineapple were still reasonably sized.
If I had a nickel for every time I thought about how poorly I chew food when throwing up, like, I would have hundreds of dollars. I'm sure of it. Like,
corn's generally the best example, isn't it?
Nobody don't chew corn at all, apparently. Nothing.
Yeah.
Corn's like the bookmark of your bowels.
Going the wrong way, mate. God, I've got to stop moving my feet. Every time I move my feet, they freak out and fly. And they're straight back. They know where the food is. Yeah, I'm going to try and remember next time I eat corn, I'm going to be really diligent and chew as properly and thoroughly as I can. And I guarantee there's still going to be some solid kernels the next day.
I have so much to say about this, but we've been doing so well, and I don't want to encourage this. But my mind is racing with possible commentary. Somebody in chat. No. I looked to chat to save me, and what I found was Vince's comment saying corn is a timing device to determine how quickly you process food.
Yeah, I used to think I had a 24-hour metabolism until in-depth studies. What is this silly notion about pineapple not going on pizza?
Pineapple loves pizza, and pizza loves pineapple. And they made a little baby, and it's called a mouth orgasm.
It's become such a trope in this modern day that corn doesn't belong on pizza.
Do you mean pineapple?
That's what I said. Don't mess
No,
me around.
you said corn.
Yeah, I think I've actually put corn on a pizza once.
How
used to
many
make,
liquid turkeys were you in that situation?
I don't know. I used to make these pizzas that ended up being this thick, and I'd even put like cold rice and beetroot and all sorts of weird shit on there.
Ew.
It's just like, it's pizza. You put whatever's left over in the fridge, chuck it on there, cook it up under some cheese. You never know what's in there.
Oh my gosh.
Ball space corn reassembles in your stomach. I think it might, Maybe, I mean,
Yes,
we've already found
that
out
makes
so
sense.
many. We've already got so many mystical things that they've worked out that corn can be used for. How do we know it's not an alien creature that can reassemble itself by some strange alien morphing process?
Dude, it could be. What about mushrooms? I think it's more likely to be mushrooms, and they also go on pizzas. Maybe aliens pizzas are the way to get into us, and eventually if you eat enough pizza, they just take over your whole body.
Sign me up for that. Oh, funny. I said sign me up, and Jay's Crazy Obsession says sign me up, pineapple and jalapeno.
I could see pineapple and jalapeno being really good together. The sweet and spicy
Definitely.
is a super good combination.
Well, 9 times out of 10, if you're getting jalapenos on a pizza from a commercial pizza kitchen, they're going to use those really sweetly pickled ones anyway. So
Yeah,
your
they don't.
jalapenos are super sweet as well.
Oh, nice. We got a burp word. I think that was our first burp word of the evening.
Might have been.
Sweet. I just say it and sound like a Muppet. You do a burp, whatever. I'm not going to burp like that. Also, I can't burp like that.
Not with that attitude.
Don't want to. I'm good. Shrooms are the best on pizza and hamburgers. I don't like mushrooms on a hamburger. I don't like a bunch of crap on a hamburger. All right, like down in Portland, they have all the food carts, and you can get hamburgers that are like a foot tall with fried eggs and like everything you can imagine. And then you order a Bloody Mary, and it comes in a pitcher with like a whole fried chicken sticking out of it. I'm not making all that.
I saw
That's
that
like
yesterday.
a real thing. Like
the Devil's Bloody Mary, I think they called it.
I'm like, no.
And it had like a garden hose, a length of garden hose with a sparkler or something going rocketing
I
out.
think it was a Roman candle. Yeah.
But it looked like they'd put it in a piece of garden hose.
Probably was. So it didn't. Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah. I've got to get me one of those one day. I've watched a few videos in the last week of this English guy called, his YouTube channel is called Beard Meets Food, but it's meats, MEATS. And he's a professional competitive eater. See you, Larry. Larry's offended that we all like pineapple on our pizza, so he's going.
He'll be
taking
fine.
his bat and ball and going home. Thanks for
Later,
hanging out, Larry. And this dude, he did a few tours around America. America's pretty famous for its food challenges and stuff, and he pretty much goes in and breaks all the records. It's ridiculous watching how much food this guy can slam down his neck in like 20 minutes.
Do you think they barf it up or keep it down?
No, the way he talks, I'd say he keeps it down, because he says that the next day he might only eat a salad or something like that. But this dude's like, he's not a big dude or anything. I mean, he's quite tall, but he's slender. So it's like, where the heck does he fit it? But I suppose essentially it doesn't matter how fat we are. We've all got a similar sized stomach.
It's crazy though. My kid, again, so like whatever, but he's tall. He's like 6'2". But he only wears like 32-inch waist jeans, so he's like slender. But he can eat like these quantities of food that if you like blended it, still wouldn't fit without like expanding him in some way. Like it's too, but there's no bump. There's like never a bump. He's just, it just, I don't know where it goes.
Hollow legs, mate. Hollow legs.
I guess. I mean, I've watched him eat 2 large pizzas in a sitting, and you just sit there like.
Yeah, that seems an achievement. Ah, that's right, Huawei. His name is Adam. It's definitely worth a watch if you want to watch someone smash a massive plate of food in 10 to 20 minutes. Can be quite disgusting, but, you know, quite an achievement still. It only feels like 5 minutes ago that I refilled my drink and wrestled a crocodile, but I'm going to go and do it again.
Yeah. Well, and I do need to get going here in a few. It's getting late over here. And tomorrow I have, like, did I tell you I got fired from the job I hated? It turns out it's a good thing, but I'm really pissed because it's like I was going to break up with a guy and I got there and he's like, hey, I'm going to break up with you. And I'm like, hey, fuck you. I'm breaking up with you first. But he already did it. So I'm just broken up with. Kind of how I got fired from my job. But tomorrow I've got a job. So I have to, not like a regular job, just a 1-day job. So I have to go sleep.
Right, I'll go and do this. We'll get on.
Yeah, get your drink filled. Vince says, I really don't need an entire salad with my Bloody Mary. That's fair. You know. Larry's leaving. See you later. Back on the psychedelic mushrooms. Cody's going deep. Jay says, peanut butter and jelly with some OJ. There you go. I always just ate them plain. Had some water. Oh, always try and eat dinner first. Have something in your stomach. I'm trying to think of stuff to talk about, you guys. Turns out I'm sleepy. Tomorrow I'm helping some friends move. And they're paying me, which is cool. Because if I was working, they would just tell me to come help them move. Because I'm the person, since they don't have a job, they're paying me for it. I'm like, yeah. I told them they didn't have to, and they insisted. And I said, okay, fine. They're like, we'll fill up your truck. I'm like, you sure? They're like, yeah. I go, okay, it's like $130. They're like, we'll fill it halfway. I'm like, cool.
Still better than pizza and beer.
Right? That's normally what I get. And then I have to put gas in my own damn tank. So that's exciting.
Oh, best whiskey. Do you include bourbons in that, Kobe? Cody. Why did I call you Kobe? My bad. Because my I used to do it all the time because one of my sons he's got a mate called Cody and a mate called Kobe. It doesn't matter which one, but you're guaranteed to call each one of them by the wrong name. Yeah. If you include bourbons, I like Booker Nose as a bourbon. Very nice sipper. And Russell's Reserve. There's a couple of different Russell's Reserves. Hang on. This one was one of my favorite bourbons I've ever drunken in my life. 55% alcohol, that's 110 proof. It's very nice, very, very nice sipper. Not, don't mix that one. It's too expensive to mix and not enjoy it. It's really great for rapture. Yeah, unfortunately, the Russell's Reserve and the Booker Nose don't necessarily allow for regular drinking because they're quite high on the price tag.
Three volume.
I think he lost his spelling. I think he was going to say vaginas.
Well, I mean, that sounds like a pretty good thing.
I don't think it's entirely true. I know kangaroos weren't one of the ones that you used in your example, but kangaroos can have a baby gestating in the womb. They can have a tiny little baby suckling at their nipple, and they can have a much larger joey growing. So they can have 3 babies at once at different stages of development.
Oh,
but I mean, it's
called a nightmare.
It's called Jay's crazy obsession. So if he's gone crazy obsessed about koalas' vaginas, then he might be factual. It's just something I've not heard.
I know. How many peckers does a koala have?
What?
How many, 3 vaginas does a koala have? 3 dillies? Like, why 3? What's up with that?
I'm going to take Jay's advice and Google it. How many vaginas does a koala have? It's funny because it auto-corrected to how many vaginas does a kangaroo have, but let's talk about koalas for now. So obviously, my God, they do have 3. Koalas, wombats, and Tasmanian devils all share the 3 vagina structure. The side ones carry sperm to the 2 uteruses, and male marsupials often have 2-pronged penises, while the middle vagina sends the joey down to the outside world. How interesting. I know echidnas have got a 4-headed penis, which looks pretty brutal if you look at pictures of it. Yeah, wow, Jay, thanks, man. I've learnt something here today.
Huh.
Well, the hyena thing's really interesting because the female's hyena's vagina is kind of like a penis, and they actually have to give birth out through a penis, and quite often when they're giving birth to their pups, they rip themselves wide open and can bleed out just from delivering a baby. I suppose that used to happen to humans a lot too. Caitlin has a false vagina. That good old Caitlin Jenner, that one. Has anyone confirmed if she went the whole hog? Oh, the opposite of the whole hog? Got rid of the whole hog?
Oh my gosh. I'm not even getting in on that conversation. I'm going to leave y'all to it. Oh my goodness. All right, but I do have to go because it's 11 o'clock
right.
in here.
I'll address Vince's question once you've departed.
Love you guys. Bye.
Thanks for hanging out, love. Take it easy. Vince, what are you saying? Saw a piece on the local news today that showed 2 kangaroos fighting in Australia. Well, it's interesting. The population of kangaroos is not massive in my area. We don't actually have any kangaroos as such in my area. We have wallabies. But as soon as you start heading south and inland a bit, massive populations of them. But generally they do they congregate not necessarily super close to civilization. Like, you see lots of footage of deers and whatnot going into the urban streets. Sure, you'll see kangaroos going in, but yeah, for the most part, they are wild animals that hang out in the bush and whatnot. But yeah, some of their fights are amazing. There's a really good one because big male kangaroos get pretty muscly and they look like roided up athletes. And one of their fantastic techniques in their fights is choking out like an MMA fighter would do. They can choke out their opponent. And I've seen at least one video on YouTube of a kangaroo choking out his opponent until he's passed out and unconscious. And their fights can be quite brutal. And they'll have a go at people too if people get in their way. And, the male kangaroos, they lean back on their huge, big, chunky tails and they use their back feet to kick at your guts to try and rip your stomach open and disembowel you. Pretty brutal. Hyena jays, the female hyena. Look up their reproductive organs. It's your turn to Google, mate. See if you can find video of a female hyena giving birth. You'll probably never watch YouTube again. Yeah, I don't know why that's become an evolutionary advantage to deliver your babies through a flesh tube. But, that's how they do. I'd like to see, what was Jenner in the, was he a heptathlete or a decathlete? Oh, g'day, Pam. When did you sneak in here? Didn't see you before. Wannabes. Yeah, there's loads of them down here. Wannabes who want to be wallabies. Yeah, it'd be fun to see. Oh, no, he's a she. Sorry. Misgendered. He's quite old now, but it'd be fun to see him go back and do the female pentathlon or heptathlon or decathlon, whichever one he did. No, I haven't, Cody. I've got a bullock's neck. Plus, I defend against that kind of stuff. I spit and I bite and I grab nuts and stuff. I twist penises, all that nasty, dirty fighting. I don't want to be knocked out and then have my penis twisted in a fight. Ugh. Absolutely right, Mark. Mark, back on the kangaroos. There's some good ones out there of suburban kangaroo fights as well. Just, bouncing around the streets, having a biff. It's recently been koala fighting season as well, so there's probably a lot of new koala fight videos up on the YouTubes. Koala fights are pretty wild when they happen because they're very, very vocal creatures. They scream and they yell and growl, and certainly when they're fighting, they're not the cute, cuddly animals that everyone makes them out to be. Yeah, I thought he was a decathlete as well. It'd be fun to see him have a crack at the women's decathlon, see if he could win it, get another gold medal 40 years after his first one. I think he got gold in the Olympics or something, didn't he? Magpie swooping season soon. Yeah, start to feed your magpies if you're an Australian, because magpies they remember faces. So if they remember that you're nice to them, they won't swoop you when you approach their nest. And if you don't feed them, they will attempt to murder you. Essentially, they're brutal animals, but lovely. Oh, I'm getting ding-donged. I'll put on a song or something so I can come back and say goodbyes properly. I'll be back. False alarm. Sorry if you were like head banging and getting into that song. Pocket dialed. I was pocket dialed from afar. Holy dooly. It's one of the most impressive sounds I get around here is the flock of white-headed pigeons. Look them up if you don't know what they are. I don't know if they're an Australian native bird, but at this time of year we get flocks of maybe 60 to 70 birds. They all hang out in the trees over there. And if they get a little bit of a startle, the whole flock takes off. And they make a wicked noise. And generally they just do a loop and go right back to where they were. Anyway, just saying, it was happening. Huawei not giving up that Caitlyn is the best looking Kardashian. What's the one that was on Hot Ones maybe a month ago? She's quite pretty. I don't find Kim attractive at all. I think she's an atrocious looking human being. What the strange stuff that she's done to her body is... Ugh. I don't know how that can be considered the pinnacle of feminine beauty. Yeah, maybe Caitlyn is the best looking one. Only if he's still got his doodle though. Yeah, if you cut that off, nah. He's just an ugly woman. Anyway, how do we get onto that one? Chloe, I think she's the best looking one. Is that the one I'm thinking? Oh, I don't want to put a Kardashian's name into my Google because then I'll start getting references to buying Kim's perfume or her seat covers or some nonsense. Jay and Vince syncing up the menzies. Yeah, Shannon was lots of fun as usual. Can get over 6 feet. I'm sure Balzac is talking about the kangaroos, not Bruce Jenner or Caitlyn, whichever one you want to use. I'm fairly certain I'm not going to be cancelled for dead naming someone. That's what they call it, isn't it? Dead naming or ghost naming? I think it's dead naming. I think that's cruel. Cruel that they call it dead naming. Like that my old person is dead. Anyway, my call is quits. Give it a finish. Roll out the door. Keep your eyes out Friday, Saturday-ish for After the Bang Bang. Maybe even listen to some comedy Bang Bang. See if you can handle it. It's pretty hard to handle though if you're a freshman into the improvised comedy. Lots of digging for the old references and the in-jokes and whatnot. But I'm going to keep promoting it until the views go sky high, so get used to it. Thanks to GRB and Huawei and whoever else was slinging links. I can't remember if anyone else did links. And you guys for watching, of course. I think some of you people have been here since the start. I find that a little bit nuts, really, but, I'm not going to complain. It's always good. How do you miss that? It's right in front of your face. How do you miss? Mosquitoes. Yeah, I think you're a lunatic if you've sat through this nonsense for this long, especially the amount of pee and poo talk we did, and farts, and drain hair, and all that other hair stuff we talked about. There was lots of gross stuff in there. Replay Team 6, if you're watching the replay, you know who you are. Appreciate your views. And you are also a lunatic if you're watching it all the way through. What have we done today? 3 hours 20. Geez, I didn't know I went that long. It's 4:20. 4:20 my time, ladies and gentlemen. You know what that means. It's time to say goodbye. Thanks heaps, everyone. Fingers crossed. We'll see you next week. Oh, no, that's not how I ended, is it? I say, I'll see yous when I'm looking at yous.